What's going on, guys? It's your boy Forte, and it is time for another episode of the Damage Per Second podcast. DPS for short. It's another great day, another great time out here in the community. I got my homeboy here with me. Uh, we are on episode 95. 5-4.
95?
95 slow
95?
95. I
Wow.
don't know, man. Good God.
95 episodes.
And some people probably was like, man, they ain't gonna make it to 16
Man, some people didn't think we was gonna make it to 10.
to 10. Right, exactly. But no, man, it's
95 episodes in. What's up?
yeah, 95 episodes in. What's up? Yeah, definitely, man. But first of all, the man you just heard is the man, the myth, the measure, the man, the many slaps, the man that still needs to make a video. We're gonna keep talking about videos until he makes one. Mr. Slow Mo Backslap. How are you doing today, sir? And what have you been up to?
I've been good. I've been playing games as usual. I just been on like a multiplayer kick, although I did finally finish my second run through as Dust Falls. Made sure everyone that you could I'll get to live lived. I made some. I fixed the error that I made the first time through, and I'm done with that as Dust Falls now. And I can like eventually probably. I guess I'll focus on Stray next. Knock Stray out maybe over the weekend or something. But I've been playing a lot of Road Company, a lot of Fortnite Zero Build, and a lot of Naraka Blade Point, just multiplayer games. I've just been cutting people up and shooting people in the
Putting
face, man.
people up. The cool thing is, yeah, I saw you and Cat Daddy playing yesterday in the Discord. You know,
Why didn't you join us?
because I was still at work when I saw you. I just happened to jump in the Discord
I
and I saw
I
you were in there.
happen to recall a screenshot. You know what screenshot I'm talking about?
No, what screenshot you talking about?
Where you had a laptop at work
Oh yeah,
and you had Destiny on.
I did. That wasn't
So,
that day though. That's a
but
different day.
but you apparently do take your laptop to work
I do take it to
and
work.
play games.
Yeah, when I'm not do when it's boring and I'm on lunch.
Uh, so it wasn't boring
Well,
and it
no,
wasn't
I
that
wa it
much.
was I was actually well, I was actually still working, sir. So, I probably was in the midst of like a 6 console trade at that time, probably. I don't know. Probably not because I actually had time to look on Discord to see who was in there. So I probably, you know what? Listen, I just didn't jump in there. I ain't trying to. I ain't got to explain myself to you. I wasn't gonna
Fine.
play the game or anything at that moment. I could have came in there and said hi at least. No, you're right.
Mm. Well, shout out to everybody that's come through. I just want Dark Saya says, I feel the is to mushmelon dramatic of intro music. Like, I don't know what that means,
I
Dark
know.
Saya.
Don't either. I was just gonna let it
I
be.
don't know if you mushed a watermelon or something, or to the sound of the intro music. I don't know what you mean, bro, but like, we appreciate you being here and quasi communicating with us. Yeah.
Quasi.
So let me I'll hit up some of the people that just came through. Arcade, what's up, bro? Sir Taz is in the house. Rail Zaya double O. Missy dies a lot. Truth Serum Dark Saya as usual. And Blade X, and Dr. Sirac is here already. So like, I appreciate you guys for coming through. We do want to shout out our channel members as well, the 10%ers out here.
Absolutely. I guess I will go first. Shout out to the I Am a Rich Swag Lord. You know, shout out to you for being a part of the community. Shout out to Hustle and Motivate, Ramon Terrell, Replicant, Hargi Chani, Surtas 117, Stardust. Shout out to Brap, Corey Hale, Cat Daddy Lurk, or Elder Cat, as we affectionately call him. Erodimus, shout out to Erodimus, the homeboy, the myth, the legend, Slubbo Backslap, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. What about you, Slow Mo?
I will be shouting out Arcade, John the Don, Dragonheart, Yobi, Jeff B Gaming, Steve Harlow, Ham Solo, Cat Daddy Lurk, Truth Serum, Big Mike, Hustle and Motivate, Smokes 901, Erodimus, Ramon Terrell, Homie One Kenobi. I just had to say it like that because I don't know why. That sounds like Jedi-ish. I don't know. Replicant, Bunty, Surtaz, Gamer Forte, and Corey Hale. So we just want to appreciate all of our 10%ers out there. You guys support us in that and by supporting the channels, and we really, really do appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, man. But outside of that, man, it's been a really, really interesting week. A lot of
Real quick,
noise
can
earlier,
you
but go
run a
ahead.
poll real quick? Because
I
Mitchy
can.
Dies a lot says that he thinks that what Dark Side meant was the music in the intro trailer is too melodramatic. So,
Oh, oh, oh. Well, Slomo picked that music, so
hey,
I
that
actually
music is
like the
from
music.
Mass Effect. So I don't know who you
What
don't
do you want
like
me to ask? Do they
epic
like the,
music
what do you
from an
want
epic
me?
game.
What do you want me to ask you? Do they like the music?
Do, do, do you want the music changed?
Do
Just run a
do.
poll. You want the music changed? We can, maybe we can look at something that's not copyrighted. Forte.
Wasn't it was copyrighted for you?
Oh boy, it's copyrighted for both of us, man.
No,
You
for
know,
you.
whatever. Anyway, non-copyrighted music that can be used, and we'll see what's up.
Yeah, I know.
But if you guys like it because it fits, then so be it.
There's the poll. We'll see. What do you think, Slow-mo? Yes or no?
No, I think it fits. It's very epic.
Huh?
Like
True Serum
like
says I like it.
see? There you go. But before say, what have you been playing, man? Outside of
Uh
Destiny, clearly.
I honestly, well, this is double reward week in Nightfall, so your boy been in there like kind of crazy. But no, outside of that, played a little bit more Stray. I'm at a point now where I'm like, dude, this game is like literally 4 hours long. I should just go ahead and beat this game instead of treating it
Are
like
you sure it's 4 hours long?
it. I mean, dude, people are beating the game in literally an hour, in not even 2 hours. So for me to
Uh,
still be playing the game, it's definitely not a long
you
game.
definitely you just trying to shrink it out to 5 hours. I know, I
No,
don't know what you just look.
no.
You want it
It's
to
not a,
count.
it's not, a, it's not, a, oh, so how are we counting these? Are we counting these off of like our actual time played or what like time beat says on the
No,
website?
actual time play. Forget what time beat has to say. If you spent more time in the game,
Oh,
you spent
well,
more
sure. There's
time
a
in the
bunch of
game.
games that we can do that with. Okay. Well, I didn't know. I thought we were actually going off the website. Okay. I'm glad we clarified that. Cool.
But if there is a questioning of
A
your
questioning of
your
the
hours,
validity of the hours.
yes, then you need to make sure to show proof that you put more than 5 hours or 5 or more
Well,
hours
no,
into it.
I am going to adopt what you actually did, where I'm going to take screenshots from certain locations of the game, and I'm just going to start a thread just like you did. I actually like the way you do that. You just search up, what is it, hashtag GamesBeat 2022.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been my thing this year. I wish I would have did this in previous years because this is the slowest pace I've had with beating games. I'm up to what am I up to now? Technically, I'm up to 17, but one of the games only took me 3 hours to beat.
Which one was
So
that? The Dust till whatever.
no, I actually got 10 hours in that because I played it
Holy,
twice
oh shoot.
because I had different decisions on the second
Oh, you
run.
went back. Well, I know you can't play a game like that and not get every decision in it done.
Right, like, I did that with the quarry because I got 3 people killed in the quarry. I was like, "Nope, no, I'm not, no, sir. I gotta go back and, fix that."
What's up,
Actually, I have
Gats? How you doing, brother? Got 18. Shout out to
18
Gats.
games beat,
Shout out
but
to Rocco.
only I think yeah, I guess, but only, 16 count. One night book doesn't count,
Hmm.
and
Nightbook? What is that?
it's like it's kinda like As Dusk Falls, but it's actually, like, real people in it.
Oh,
Like, it's, like, really, like, recorded with, like almost like you ever play, Night Shift?
yes.
Yeah, it's like Night Shift, basically, but it's
Oh,
not
okay.
as good as Night Shift. Night Shift had a much better story than Nightbook. Nightbook's actually terrible.
Mm.
And then, like, Shredder's Revenge, like, I beat it, but I didn't play it long enough to get 5 hours in it. Because you could beat Shredder's Revenge in, like, 4.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, let you beat that thing like 15 times. With every turtle
yeah.
plays every turtle, every
Yeah, yeah,
adjacent
if I wanted to
character.
platinum it or 100% it, then, like, yeah,
You would
I'll
have.
be able to add it to the list, but, like,
I'm
I
saying
enjoy playing it, but, like, I yeah.
now you should go play Battletoads.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
not
I'm not playing
not
Bash.
not your not your cup of tea, huh?
Mm-mm. No, I'm good.
Yeah, so yeah, man, that's pretty much been it, man. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody that showed up to the show. Shout out to the 30 people that's here. I'm at the very beginning. Let us guys, let us know what you guys have been playing down in the chat. You know, it's always good. Do you want the intro change? So far, we got 15 of you guys voted, so half of you so far, and 73% said no, 27% said yes.
I guess we could, end it
So
right
so so
there.
so my question is for the 27%, what would you like it changed to? What kind of music would you
It
actually
don't
prefer?
matter. They
I'm not I'm
lost.
just I'm just interested. Calm
They
down.
lost.
Ju-
Take their L and go and you know what? They could look at the intro and then play some music off of their Spotify in the
Oh
background, and
my god.
they can choose whatever music they want at that point.
Oh my god, here we go. So Damon's Go says he's been playing Anno. Blade X said I've been playing Forbidden West. Gregor says the intro should be just a monologue of Forte saying words wrong.
A 2-hour intro. Oh my gosh, that would take forever if
Oh,
we really did. Yeah, I need to play Ain't No Meonium.
what
I
is
have
that? What
not.
is that about? Never even heard. I know I heard about it, but what is kind of game is it?
It's a pixel art looking game, but it's like kind of cyberpunk, and it's got some like side scrolling melee combat gameplay in it that's kind of mixed in with some 3D. It's pretty cool. I covered it on my channel for a little bit, but I haven't just had the opportunity to jump in it yet.
Well, look, Gregor, I just tried to give you some content. Instead of saying montage, I said monologue. He said monologue. What? I just wanted to give you some missed words. Yeah, that was part of the, thing. Um, yeah, but I'm in the same way. But Kingdoms of Alamar. Have you played Reckoning, Slomo? Kingdoms of Alamar?
I have not. Actually, no, I did try it, and then I just realized it wasn't for me, so I was just like, nah. I uninstalled it pretty quickly.
Oh, okay. He says the anime basically. Chips and Sticks, what's going on, bro? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you for coming through. He said David said he started it yesterday. Hopefully you're playing the next gen versions and not the 360 versions because you know how some people are. I actually had a person come in the store like, do you still sell Xbox 360 games? I'm like, reluctantly, yes, we do. I wish they were I wish they were all
I
gone.
I I wish that I did. I wish we didn't
I
sell them.
wish
I
we
wish they were out
didn't.
of
I
here.
was like, it was person and he said they were on top of the counter. He was like, is there a reason that these 360 and PS3 games are sitting on a counter and not on a wall? I was like, I could give you the real answer to that, but I'll just give you the PC answer. We just don't have room on the wall for them, so just have
Yeah,
them on our
you
counter.
know, y'all should just start giving them away.
Oh shoot. What they did that with some games.
He's like, buy, uh, I don't know, buy Cyberpunk and get Cyberpunk
Get
with it.
Cyberpunk with it.
Get the old
Shout
version of it.
shout out to
Yeah.
that guy Smitty. What's up, fella? Shout out to B Money 101 saying, what's up, fellas, man? Shout out to you, man. I know they was missing you on Brap last night. I was listening to it on my way home and I was like, B Money ain't there. It sucks. But Slomo also, yeah, Slomo, you left early yesterday, I noticed. You wasn't feeling
Yeah, I had
good?
to get some with work.
Oh, got you.
Work has been awful this week.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I
yeah, I
haven't
tried to
been able to
make
play games whenever I feel like
so you
playing
actually did
games.
some work, like not just
I'm
play video
always doing
games and
work.
playing Fortnite with the
Hey, hey,
trouble
hey, hey,
with
hey, hey.
the with your constituencies and stuff like that, man. What you been doing?
I've been working. I'm always working, man. It's just been working. It's just been a little bit more work this week than normal.
Rap
That's
said
all.
he
I'm
doesn't
always
play
working.
70 Metacritic games. You know what? We're about to start right here. So let's.
Brap is
I
lying.
know.
Brap got 5 days of gameplay time in PUBG.
Mhm. Yeah, but
Mm.
guess what? Slomo in PUBG.
Barely a 70
But
Metacritic
guess
game.
what? But guess what? Slomo in PUBG. I don't know if he knows where he could plant his seed at. Where you gonna plant the seed
Oh
in
my.
PUBG?
Okay, look,
we go.
there's some inside context to that. So
We don't let that one be. So slow mo.
yeah,
You brought this to my attention earlier today. We're gonna shoot over to the very first topic. Shout out to you, Cat Daddy. Really appreciate you coming through, bro. Tencent to become the biggest shareholder in Ubisoft. First of all, is this gonna happen? And why don't you give us some
probably.
background? Give us some background on exactly what's going on here.
You ever watch the TV show Succession?
Yes.
It's on HBO. It's an awesome show.
Yes, it
I
is.
recommend everyone watch it. It's great. It's like about this family of rich white people who just are so rich and so yeah, rich. They just think that they can just own everything. And especially the father who's the CEO of the company, family company that they have, this huge media conglomerate. When he wants another company, when he wants to own another company, whether it's a hostile takeover or whatever, he just, he lets them know, I'm going to get what I want. So you can either just take my money and we can do this the easy way, or we could do it the hard way, right? That's Tencent basically. Like
Mm-hmm.
they gonna get what they want, okay? Like they're not gonna when they got their eyes set on something, like it always starts as it usually is. Oh, here's 5% ownership. It'll help you out, You dealing with some hard times, don't worry about that. We got you. We got you. And then a couple years later, they're still on hard times because their business strategy has not changed one bit. And of course, they're gonna need more money, and Tencent knows this. And then Tencent just
Mm-hmm.
starts to slowly own more and more of the company into, oh, whoopsie, we own everything. We're the majority shareholder. Now you do what we tell you to do. That's going to be Ubisoft eventually. And clearly, because in order for Ubisoft to not need Tencent in this capacity, they would need to actually make better games that sell better. And unfortunately, like instead of just stopping the typical Ubisoft open world games that they were forcing all their IP into,
Mm-hmm.
they had just keep shifting to other games that other developers and publishers have already like been successful at. They're not doing anything original. They're not really attempting to be original. And we see this, I think we see this a lot when there's a publisher that's like really pressing. They're really
Right.
they're really afraid of what might be coming. And so they start delving into genres that they really not good at. They don't really no one really expects it from them. And that you get stuff like The Division Heartland, which is basically Escape from Tarkov with a Division skin on it. I actually think this is very similar to what Bethesda was doing before Microsoft acquired them. Fallout 76. I mean, that wasn't in their wheelhouse. Like that's not the kind of game that people expected from Fallout. Um, just it's unfortunate, You see someone that is known for a certain kind of games, start to do stuff that doesn't make any sense for them. Live service junk that Ubisoft has been indulging in and then canceling because the reception to every announcement and reveal of these games has been abysmal. It just kind of goes to show that like they really don't know how to survive in this market right now. I think, and I think that yeah, Tencent's probably going to eventually give it like another year or two. Tencent is probably going to go ahead and be majority owner.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's crazy as it sounds. It just seems like Tencent is just biding their time, like you said. Like you said earlier, it's like we gonna give you something, but we gonna leave here with something too. And the more and more time that goes by, it just seems like they're gonna find themselves more and more in control of Ubisoft over the course of time. Now, do we think that this is a Do you think this is a good move for Ubisoft for somebody like Tencent to become like a majority owner, or do you think somebody else would probably be a better fit in general?
Well, this might be a little bit a surprise to people. I don't think necessarily this is going to be a bad move for them. And here's why. Because, like, initially, when Tencent bought, I forgot the name of the company, but the company that owned Digital Extremes, which makes Warframe,
Yeah,
I thought, like, this is awful. Like, Warframe may not even exist in a few years because in the past, Tencent has acquired developers and then killed off the IP or games that they didn't want just to keep the stuff that they did want. And then they usually ran that into the ground. And in this case with Digital Extremes, they actually have Digital Extremes is actually starting to put forward some really substantial expansions that and would look like they may be coming out with them sooner than they used to be able to come out with them, and they're making a whole new game. So, like, this isn't something that I don't think would be possible for Digital Extremes if they didn't get acquired by Tencent.
right.
So, I it's possible that it could be good for Ubisoft, but the only thing that will really, I think, make Ubisoft's issue really isn't the fact that they do or don't need money. Their issue is leadership and
Yeah.
their lack of originality and how leadership based off of things that we've heard from ex Ubisoft developers have really hindered the creativity and freedom of the developers, that the very talented developers that they have among like 20 plus studios around the world. And it's just that's the problem. The problem is really poor decisions by Ubisoft. And so, like, I don't think Tencent acquiring them is gonna really change anything. What needs to happen is they need to get better at that decision making. Like, I will never forget how they just decided, "Oh, okay, Massive Entertainment, we got Star Wars now,
Right.
so you don't make The Division no more. We're gonna have this other random studio that's never touched your engine, never touched the game, even though we've had 5 studios be support studios for you. None of those 5 support studios are gonna work on this game as the primary developer now. We're just gonna get this random developer out here to do it. Cool, cool. Th And it took them a full year just to get their feet wet, to understand what they were even working with. Like, that's bad decision making, but that's typical Ubisoft, and it's just is ownership by Tencent gonna change that when it seems like Tencent is literally really just, like, acquiring stuff and just
Hmm.
chilling. They're not m forcing people to do things. They're not micromanaging. They're just acquiring stuff, and then they're just hanging back and letting them do whatever they do. So it's I mean, like, I don't think it's gonna fix anything. I don't think it's gonna change anything. It's not gonna hurt them either. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm thinking the same thing. First of all, shout out to B Money. He says, "Remember that's the company Sony targeted prior to going after Bungie." And I do remember you bringing that up multiple times
Yeah.
inside of our DMs and stuff like that, and hinting at it on Brow. And you always know, bro, if you want to come through and jump into the show, man, just yeah.
I think if Sony would have acquired Ubisoft, we would have saw a change.
Oh yeah, we would
There
easily see a
definitely would have been
change.
change because Sony isn't of a lax publisher.
Right.
They if they see issues going on with quality, they're going to do something about it. Does it always turn out to be like the best decision? No. When it comes to certain kind of games, absolutely. But in others, like they still have yet to, like, live service games kind of stuff. They still have yet to really and multiplayer games. They haven't yet to really show that they can manage those things well yet, but they at least would actually make some changes with Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think Tencent's going to change anything
No,
whatsoever.
Tencent just wants to rake in. I mean, it's like the thing that I knows about Tencent is they really don't make any broad changes to the things they purchase. They pretty much leave them very, very static. Static. They just want to. They just use it's like a stock to them. It's like, is this stock gonna fall through the floor? Most likely not. But if we give it stability, is it a chance that that stock can rise? And you're starting to see that with like digital extremes and stuff because they're doing a little bit more stuff with Warframe than they did before.
I mean,
Ubisoft,
but they're making a brand new game though, Soul
exactly.
Frame. Like
Yeah.
I did that shocked me that they're making another game
Yeah.
after almost like not almost a full
A
decade of
decade of
only working on
Warframe.
one
Yeah.
game. The veterans at Digital Streams are now splintering off to a new team under Digital Streams that's making Soul Frame, while their newer like managers are being promoted to being like the lead directors for Warframe. And there's a lot of Warframe like people in the community that think that's a great idea. They kind of feel like that the older like guard was kind of holding the game back.
Hmm.
And so now like the new guard that had new ideas and was actually listening to the community is now in charge. It's like, all right, cool. You're going to make a whole different game that's very different from Warframe. And it seems like it's going to be a Souls-ish open world game. Look, Soulframe really reminded me of Elden Ring when I read the description of what it was supposed to be. And if you look at like what Digital Streams has done already when it comes to multiplayer and crossplay and stuff like that, like they got a better handle on all not crossplay, but just multiplayer and live service stuff and onboarding multiple people to play together. They're way better at that than From Software is, and I think that I mean that game has a lot of potential. That's like, hmm, all this started happening after after Tencent acquired them. You know,
Yeah.
it might. Does it mean necessarily that like Ubisoft is going to be better for this? No, but I think what it does mean is that they probably won't hurt Ubisoft. Like they won't be the reason that Ubisoft is failing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I take away from it too. A lot of people probably just look at it like, man, it sucks that part of the big big three isn't one of the ones. But you guys are gonna think outside of probably Microsoft, I kind of think anybody else would probably try to make a lot of these things platform, exclusive or something like that. I mean, even though times are changing now, you never really know what's going to happen when it comes to that. I never thought there would ever be a day that Sony would make a purchase of $3 something billion and still have to share the game with other people. Now that doesn't mean
Right.
it's going to be the same thing when it comes to other games that they make, but
Yeah.
when it comes to like when it comes to the big boy, that boy is going to be available everywhere. And I thought I never would have ever saw that happen. So who really knows? But I think it's an interesting move. I think it's a move that kind of fits what Tencent.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think for Sony and Microsoft, when they continue to acquire more publishers and developers, that whether they continue to make allow their stuff to remain multi-platform or not, is a case by case basis, or do you think that going forward it's just going to be all allowing it to remain multi-platform?
Talk about just for the stuff that they own now.
No, I'm talking about in the future. Because look, okay, Microsoft has so initially with ZeniMax Media, and Microsoft was like, "Hey, look,
Do
these
we think
games
that's going to change?
are
Like right
yeah."
now, those games
Well,
are
hold on.
right now. Those games. Go ahead.
This
Go
is
ahead.
what I'm saying. So ZeniMax Media, Microsoft was like, all existing games will
Right.
remain on PlayStation, but going forward, all new games, once contractual obligations are up, which is Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, all new games are going to be only where Game Pass lives. So that's PC, that's mobile, that's Xbox, that's
Hmm.
not PlayStation, right? That's not the Switch.
Right.
Um, then they acquire Activision Blizzard King. It's a little bit different now.
Yeah.
Now they're saying, so if the game the IP has been on the platform before, new stuff will continue to be on that platform. So that's Overwatch. That's Diablo. That's Call of Duty games. But they did not say that for brand new IP. For example, Blizzard is working on a survival game. That survival game is not going to be on PlayStation. It's a new IP. It has never existed on PlayStation. So that's a different way of going about things. Now, Sony, for example, uh, hmm. Okay, so they acquire small studios, right,
Hmm.
to make content exclusively for PlayStation. Then they acquire Bungie, which is Bungie is going to be and
Just
Destiny will forever be a multi-platform game. And then Bungie also went a step further and said everything that we make will always be
be
multi-platform going forward.
multi-platform. Yeah,
So is this like do you what I'm saying to you is that you think that like that's going to be the
I think
how things are
Bungie.
going to be going forward
I
where
think
if
Bungie's the outlier for PlayStation.
but you not like but what about Microsoft? Do you think how they did things with Activision Blizzard is going to be the way things are going to be, or is it ZeniMax Media?
I think with Xbox, I think it's gonna be more ZeniMax, but I also think when I say more ZeniMax, is they're really tying that stuff to Game Pass in general. They don't care where Game Pass is, as long as
Right.
as long as Game Pass is there. That's the key. I also just think a lot of people just seem to forget that Call of Duty is a very small piece of the ABK acquisition. King is the biggest piece of it, and I'm not going to
I
sacrifice.
wouldn't call it a very small
No,
piece.
no, no,
It's
no, no,
not
no.
as
Well,
big as
well,
King,
yeah, not as big
but
as. Well,
yeah.
I'm talking. You're talking. Well, yeah, no. Actually, it's a small piece. We're talking about a franchise versus a billion-dollar annually company. I mean, Call of Duty's up there, but it doesn't bring in nowhere
Call of
near.
Duty generates
It
billions
doesn't bring. It
annually.
doesn't bring in what King brings in by
Yeah,
itself.
but it still doesn't like you said very
Well,
small
because
part of
we're talking
that's
about a game versus a.
Overwatch is a very small
Well, no,
part of
that's
what
that's a
ABK
that's a
has.
that's a that's a grain of rice sitting on the floor. That's what
Like
Overwatch is. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But
Call of Duty isn't a very small of
well, I'm
anything.
just saying they're willing. I'm just saying they're willing to sacrifice Call of Duty for the greater good because they're still going. They don't have to pay themselves to put Call of Duty on their platform, so they're gaining 30% of the revenue back for every copy that sells on their system or plays in Game Pass. They're not spending money there. They're getting money from the competition when it comes to that game. But like I said, in general, it just comes down to King being the biggest part of that deal, and I think that's the thing that they're
I got two
really
scenarios for you.
focusing on. But
I got two scenarios for
yeah,
you.
go ahead.
Clearly, we know where things are going with Square Enix, right?
Oh, Square Enix is going to Sony sooner or later. Happening.
Yeah, sooner or later, like they didn't hit the gym, and they done lost
They
the
done
belly
lost some
fat. You know what I'm
weight.
saying? They've been doing their squats. They got the booty popping. They want Sony to see this. Look what we got here. Like we didn't drop the Western studios that ain't making us no money. And now they dropping in revenue like crazy. Yeah,
Oh,
so
B Money says he thinks that Square is going to operate the same way as Bungie does.
that's what I was about to ask you. So I was like, so like when Sony acquires Square Enix, is Square Enix going to continue to be a multi-platform developer, or is it going to be more of say, you
The,
know,
the bigger question
everything that
is
all our contractual obligations will be met, but after that, it's all
so
PlayStation and
so
PC.
no, I can tell you right now that's not going to happen with Square, because the biggest the biggest reason Square does as good as it does is because of their partnership with Sony. I mean, not Sony, with Nintendo. I don't think Sony ain't cutting Nintendo out. They
No, but yeah, but they can cut Xbox
no
out,
no
but not
well
Nintendo because like
well
the stuff they do on
they
Nintendo makes
barely
money
do
and it's
anything.
quality.
They
What?
they
Triangle
barely do, no, I'm
strategy?
talking about they barely do anything with Xbox though. So you're really not losing anything. They barely
Well,
do anything with Xbox. And the stuff that they did do with Xbox, they now sold to someone else. So
they
think
put
about that.
they put what you call it on not Triangle Strategy. What's the other one? What's the other one? Not Triangle Strategy. The one they did before that.
Uh
It's still now on PlayStation. What's the name of the game? It came out on Switch first.
oh, you talking about oh my god. Octopath
It came out on
Traveler.
Switch. Yes, Octopath
That's
Traveler.
on
That's
Switch.
on
Only
that's
on
on
Switch and
everything.
PC. Oh,
That's
it's on
on
Xbox
everything
too.
but PlayStation.
Yeah, everything but I'm just trying to say I can see like and I don't know if B Money's thinking the same way. The, would they would keep. I think Xbox would be a part of the Nintendo, not a part of the Nintendo, a part of the Square scenario because yes, even though they do some things with Square, the things that they normally did with Square in Xbox aren't a part of Square anymore. Like they did some offshoot things, like you said, when it comes to like Octopath Traveler, and there's some other little third party games and stuff that they not third party, but little other ancillary games that they
Crisis
did like that.
Core remake is coming to Xbox
Yeah,
this
Crisis Core
fall
is
as
coming.
well.
Well, I think that's the olive branch that
The
Square,
Strangers of Paradise came to the
all the
Xbox as well.
offshoot stuff, the stuff that
Yeah.
yeah, none of the mainline
Well,
stuff.
but I mean, like Babylon's Fall is
Who
offshoot stuff,
who
but that one
cares?
didn't come either. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Near Automata eventually came,
Maybe I'll
but
give
that was
you the biggest one I'll
exclusive
give
to
you was
PlayStation 4 Live.
Outriders, and Square didn't even care about that really, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah, there was Outriders. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and that was a third, but that was published third party. That was published through Square.
that's a what that well you published. They don't own People Can Fly, but that's also a not necessarily a Western. It's Western of Japan. So,
Right, exactly.
but it's like that's a European studio. So, a little bit like the way clearly Square Enix has operating treated Western developers differently than they treat their developers in Japan. In the past, this has been pretty obvious and even stated so by former CEOs of some of those studios. But uh, yeah, I mean, look, I would say more than likely, I would say it would be business as usual for Square Enix, but business as usual has been a lot of stuff exclusively going to PlayStation anyway.
Yeah, going to, so what's
Yeah.
going to, that's why everybody keeps
The
saying
only
like what's going
change
to
I would say
change.
probably would be that like maybe the ports, the PC would be better.
Oh, maybe, yeah, because Nixis would be porting that stuff over.
Right, because like Square Enix ports to PC are awful. Like they're really bad. The last good one I can really think of was like Final Fantasy 15.
Mhm.
The rest of them have been abysmal, and it's really kind of sad, like how little that they work they put into it, or whoever that they are outsourcing it to. Like they clearly aren't really capable of doing better than that. But anyway, no, I would say like I kind of agree with some people in the chat there saying that like it would be kind of essentially what Square Enix has always been doing.
Always done.
Final Fantasy was just like you just know Final Fantasy ain't like don't even ask the question. It ain't going to Xbox.
Not the
Now it's
mainline
always a
stuff.
question. It's always a question, but like no, it's not gonna be a question now.
That's
What
interesting.
if what if like say Sega or Capcom
Mhm.
was in the crosshairs of Xbox? Now, if you look at that, right?
I think that stuff was go it would stay third.
Okay, would it be more like a ZeniMax deal, or would it be more like a Activision Blizzard deal?
Probably more like where they pick and choose
Well,
or the
well, yeah.
whole.
Let's say Capcom then. Let's say Capcom. So Resident Evil,
Oh,
does
that
that remain multi-plat, or is it
it
like
stays multiplat.
okay? So you think the Xbox division is more inclined to keep that stuff
I think
big?
big
I
super
I
third party game. Like I think this is the thing though. I
I don't
think
know. I don't know because like because hold on, Fallout and Elder Scrolls aren't going to remain multi-plat. Those are big
but I
tentpole mainstay kind of IPs. Resident Evil is as well. It's like I feel like the only reason why they are doing what they're doing with Activision Blizzard King when it comes to Call of Duty is because
it's Call of
one is
Duty.
Call of Duty. That's one. And then two, the fact that like they're gonna allow it for Overwatch and for Diablo and the other IP, probably Crash Bandicoot to make another Crash, right? That will remain multi-platform. It's simply for the fact that like regulators are looking at this. The FTC is looking at this. Like it's a big deal. So like I don't think it is that big a deal if it's Capcom or Sega as it was for Activision. so they could kind of have a little bit more freedom to pick and choose. It'll be like ZeniMax, where there's no one kind of looking over their shoulder, like, so what are you gonna do with this one, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
If there's no one over their shoulder, they're gonna be like, well, shoot, Resident Evil will only be where Game Pass is.
Well, that's the key right there. That's why I think it depends. Like, is it going to be platform specific? Yes, but I think it's all going to be tied to does your platform have Game Pass? If it doesn't, I think Call of Duty is the only game that Xbox is willing to say, okay, we're allowed to we're gonna let this just live where it lives. Pretty much give it the Minecraft treatment. It's like, okay, this is a huge franchise. We're gonna make money off of it no matter what. And then they could, like, I like what Pixel say. He said they could use that as a bargaining chip for upcoming games and stuff.
Very much true.
You could
Yeah.
kind of keep Sony and kind of keep them in place when it comes to like money having third party exclusives and stuff, which sounds crazy when you hear say money had and Microsoft being money had it out of stuff because they can afford pretty much anything they want. It just comes down to the fact that they just don't go after stuff like that because they feel like I don't
They
care if
do.
you're
Oh, wait,
no,
wait,
no,
wait.
I'm saying they
They
don't no,
do.
no, I'm saying they don't care.
Stalker
No,
2.
no, I'm saying they don't care
Yeah.
about your game being on their platform and being exclusive to the platform. They want it to be in Game Pass. And if it's not, that's the deal that they're looking for. They can get any deal that they kind of want to. They can say that we want a platform exclusivity, and some people might do that before they do Game Pass because they know they're going to get full revenue sales out of their games on that platform. The reason that they want Game Pass, Xbox One in Game Pass, is because that's the thing that they're pushing the most. They care about that more than anything else, growing that subscription base and growing that player model. But in general, it just ultimately comes down to where's the game's going to be available, and I think Call of Duty is the one land that's going to get sacrificed during this whole conversation. But outside of that, I think everything else is just pretty much tied to the ecosystem of Game Pass, and I don't think that's going to kind of change. Now for Sony, I don't know. It's interesting. The Bungie thing kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. It lets some people.
Bungie is notoriously difficult to work with. Just keep the kind of
They
divas.
are.
They're divas, bro. Like they.
They're geniuses.
I wouldn't.
They are,
Okay,
dude.
you're clearly
Anytime
biased.
you can
So I'm.
dictate slow mo.
Geniuses.
Slow mo. Anytime you can dictate to somebody that's giving you $3.5 billion and tell them what you gonna do with something that technically they own, but they can't do what they want to
But they
do
no
with it.
no. It's not about that. It's not about Destiny. That deal wasn't about
No,
Destiny.
no, no. It was about it was about
It
their
was about their
overall
expertise in live
expertise.
service games,
But that's what
right?
I'm
So that
saying. The game didn't even matter. It was like we're selling ourselves to you. Which
like they
pause.
didn't care about Bungie, like 'cause they not a Bungie. They didn't care about Destiny. Like they didn't care in that deal about what
Well,
happens
that's
to
because they know
Destiny,
they're
whether
going to
it's
get Destiny no matter what because of its third
yeah, I mean,
party.
all
Yeah,
the revenue is going to, ultimately go to them. But like, it was really about them teaching these other like newer developers that are now going to be making live service games
right.
how to do that. It's an investment in their expertise because if what they were willing to spend $3 billion in the chances that not I keep saying I keep mixing up Destiny and Bungie. Bungie helps like say Firewalk or Jade Raymond Studio
Yeah,
or whoever to actually have a successful live service game because that successful live service game will make them three times as much as over the lifetime of that IP that they pay for with Bungie. So it's about a bigger investment for them. So that's why they were fine with whatever demands Bungie wanted to make. But I'm just saying they're different. I think they're different because
yeah.
they're a bit difficult to deal with to begin to
I
begin
like how
with.
you said it's just difficult, man. I don't,
They divas, man. They
as they should be.
look. Let's keep it a buck. Bungie out here demanded their freedom from Microsoft so they can make Destiny. And then if you look at initial Destiny in the beginning, I mean it's a MMORPG, so it's it's not like Halo, but had a lot of little similarities to Halo, and it wasn't really all that different of a game.
Oh,
We
whoa,
and
whoa, whoa, whoa. We tried to make an argument. People were making arguments that these games were the same.
No, those people who had never played Destiny were making those arguments about
Oh,
2022
okay. I just wanted you to
D
clarify that.
Destiny.
I just wanted you to
Now I'm
clear. I
talking
know what
about
you meant. I just wanted you to
Destiny
clarify
in
it.
2014, like freaking 8 years ago, Destiny. Like initially in the beginning, like they had similarities and like you can't like deny that there were similarities there for
Oh
original
yeah.
Destiny year one, but it's the fact that like they did all that arguing with Microsoft only for like the original people who were mostly go hard for Destiny, or Destiny originally supposed to be a third person perspective game. All of the teams that were running making Halo ODST and Halo Reach finished those games, came over and started working on Destiny, and they were the ones arguing to go back to first person perspective. So there was like this internal battle between people who wanted almost like basically a Halo game without Halo, and people who wanted to do something completely different. And this is where you end up getting Destiny eventually. But it's just funny to me that they did all that like fighting to get their freedom, only to
Mm.
not make something completely unique from what they were already doing. But I just like, to me, that Bungie, they're divas. They're divas, man.
Yeah,
But
I'm with
so
you.
I don't think every developer or publisher that Sony acquires in the future are going to be that difficult.
True Serum says Herman Host just posted a picture of Bungie and Deviation Games. I mean, they're always going to be hitting that stuff. Shout out to Gregor says Microsoft needed to buy Bungie to have them use their expertise to put Black appreciation emblems correctly in their games.
True Servant says Herman Holtz just posted pics with Bungie and Deviation Games. Exactly, like that.
Yeah, I
That
just read that.
is. Oh, sorry. I was reading something else. My bad. My
You
bad.
wouldn't pay
But
attention what I just read.
no, let me just say that like that is, to them, that's that money being put to good use, because it's if those games are coming out and people feel like it's really easy to play with friends. uh I'm not dealing with a multitude of issues and just getting matchmaking working. I'm not dealing with a whole bunch of other crap that people typically deal with. Think about Outriders for a moment, right?
Hmm.
Bungie could have been a great help to People Can Fly in just getting people to log in and play the game and not lose their inventory.
Wow.
You just think about like how Outriders was a fun game that people were enjoying, and so many people just quit it because it was just like of not of the actual game itself, but the completely separate other issues. But like some of those other issues that they had with like the balancing of the game, and the balancing of like if you're much more powerful and you jump into someone else's game, and then being nerfed to your damage levels being nerfed to making you almost useless
Yeah.
in their game. Like those are the kind of things that Bungie could have been like, you don't want to do that.
Right.
This is how we handle that kind of situation when someone is a much bigger light level than than someone else. Like it's having that experience is kind of priceless. So
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
with you. So let's move on to the next topic where shout out to Jeff Grubb. He did his episode of Game Mess, and they were talking about EA and the new games and properties and stuff that they're working on. And in the stream, he was basically talking about how EA is working on not only one superhero game, which a lot of people are saying is a Black Panther game. They're working on a second one too, Slow Mo. So did you get a chance to check out that stream or just see the? Well, you sent me the clip, so you definitely looked at it. So what do you think about it? Do you think it's the Iron Man game that a lot of people think it could be, or do you think it could be something else? What do you think in general?
Well, there was what's the guy's name? Henderson, the what's
Tom
his first
Henderson.
name?
Tom
Tom
Henderson.
Henderson. He heard a rumor that it's Iron Man. I don't believe that. I don't believe not saying Tom is, like, lying or anything. What he heard from, people that he knows is probably true. I just don't think that what they told him is true. I think it's too easy of a connection for it to be Iron Man. Because literally everyone that's mentioned this be like, "Oh, man, Anthem's flying was great." Like, BioWare ain't making this. Like,
Right.
why like, there was no mention of BioWare making the superhero game, nor would I want them to. So, like, unless they are literally going like, whichever EA studio is literally going to BioWare and, like, "Give us, like, all your assets and in your code and everything that you have from Anthem on flying, and then we're gonna take that and build off of that to make an Iron Man game." I don't see why people are making this like one-to-one comparison, like, "Oh, well, then that would be great if it's Iron Man because Anthem." No, like that's just not how that works. Nor does that mean it's definitely going to be Anthem. So I think whatever it is, like I mean, technically, he said superhero. No, he just said Marvel game.
Yeah,
So
he said
it
Marvel.
is, yeah. I mean, it's. I'm not saying it's definitely not Iron Man. I just don't like. I don't want people to just automatically assume that it is.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not. I don't quite know how I feel about that, just based on the fact that like I don't quite like Black Panther being done by EA, and that there are some questions that have come up that at least Jeff Grubb, who broke the story, has helped answer. There will not be a character creator in the game, which in that Black Panther game, that they won't have a character creator in there. I was going to be heated because it's like, yo, you know what kind of characters people would have been creating. That's a Black Panther, but outside of that, the premise of the story I don't like. Like we don't so this is your first Black Panther game, right? And you're gonna do it without T'Challa?
Mm,
That's like making a Captain America game and then do it without Steve Rogers.
yeah.
It's making an Iron Man game and not having Tony Stark as Iron Man. Like what? Why are you not having T'Challa, the Black Panther as far as anybody is concerned? Of course, there's been generations and generations of other Black Panthers, right?
Hmm.
But like the one that we are all aware of, and from the MCU to the majority of the comics, is T'Challa. Why would you not have T'Challa that people like as your Black Panther instead have, hey, just some other random dude. He's a random
Some
Wakandan that's
other
gonna take over.
random
What the
dude.
freak? Why? Why? Like, why do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like here's Spider. It's like Insomniac having Spider-Man, and then Peter Parker dies in the first 5 frames of the game, and then you get a random kid taking over. I mean, that's literally the storyline of Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
It
But
is.
at least you actually have a foundation of who Miles Morales is. This would be an absolute completely unknown. And I just don't like them doing that on the very first game of Black Panther. It's just like, to me, it smacks of a lack of respect for the character. That's just what it seems like to me. But well, I don't know, man. What do you think about this whole stuff?
I feel the same exact way. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "What we gonna make? Like? Do I mind? I, a lot of people give EA a bunch of crap, and rightfully so. They do more harm than good when it comes to a lot of games, especially games that are not in their wheelhouse, but games that are not owned by them. I mean, they even treat the games owned by them pretty bad sometimes. Look at Battlefield 2042 to for an extent. But in general, it just ultimately comes back to, wow, we're really gonna make a game without Kachala, or the fact that we don't even know what the overall situation with the character is going to be, even in a movie context. So it's like I almost would rather see something like that happen after we kind of figure it out exactly what they're going to do when it comes to just a character in general. It's people are saying that they should just retire the character and stuff like that, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, things happen all the time." I mean, as much as it hurts to say, you know Boseman's not here anymore, and I mean, and that's crazy to think about. But these characters live on. These characters were portrayed by people years and tens and 20 years ago and stuff like that. We just finally got a chance to see them on the silver screen and come to a movie sense, but where everybody gets a chance to see and kind of identify with these people. And I think that's what the biggest thing is. This generation and the past generations, they identify with all these characters and stuff. So it just feels like the reason they're doing this so quickly is it kind of feels like they just want to get it out so they can like make money off of it, whatever, like that, because they know interest
Yeah,
is still a little bit high. When it comes to those type of characters and stuff, people and the Disney stuff, Disney knows this. They know that they have an uphill battle when it comes to like getting excitement and enthusiastic back to the Marvel MCU universe because I mean you hit an all-time high a couple years ago with two movies in Endgame and Infinity War, and it tied a nice little bow around phase three, and now you're trying to rekindle that again, and it's going to be a little bit harder. So how do they go about doing that? You bring about characters that people love, you make stories and stuff like that, but the only difference is I don't think they have a real direction. I think like that's the one thing about about phase four that's kind of weird with me. Like, what's the direction? You can see what the direction was back when Iron Man and stuff came out, and you can see like movie wise when they started making games. When they started doing all that stuff, when they came up with like Captain America, the first Avenger, and everything like that. You saw the direction on movies, games, and everything. Now it just seems like they're just trying to find something that's not
I,
really
I
there.
think I think they're I think what they wanted to do with Phase 4 was reboot the MCU in a way. A
Right.
lot of the mainstay actors, and I know this is kinda a little bit off topic, but we're here anyway, so
Oh yeah, what's
whatever,
up?
right? Um, a lot of the mainstay actors like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, their contracts were expiring. Some of them only had like uh, a movie left to do. But then you got like Chris Evans, not Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth who re-upped. You got forgot the guy's name that plays the Hulk that re-upped. So you got some that stayed, but like the bigger stars were done. And so in doing that, they tried to reboot things. You notice now they already announced like two Avenger movies in 1 year
Yep.
coming up soon. That's going to be like kind of like their Infinity War and Endgame.
Mhm.
The problem is that like they started introducing these new characters that are going to be like the new guard to take over. The problem was like you got COVID that happened, ruined a lot of the scheduling of things and when things are supposed to come out. For example, like the Black Widow movie, which sucked, but that was supposed to be out far earlier than when it was supposed to be. The first MCU TV show in Disney Plus was WandaVision. That wasn't supposed to be the first one. I think Loki was supposed to be first. I think
Yeah,
I
Loki
can't
was.
remember which
I
one.
think Loki was supposed to be the first one.
Right, so it's just like everything ended up out of order. Unfortunately, Chadwick dies. From cancer.
Right.
That clearly could not have been something that they were anticipating, and I think it was a mistake to not recast him. Just me personally, I feel like he's a wonderful actor, and it's unfortunate of his passing. And I think he was a legend in the making. As an actor, but like you weren't in a place to have that character that he was playing be gone. So it's like you're now shifting everything that that is that you had planned, as a tribute to what and we don't even know whether Chadwick would have been like, yeah, don't don't no one else play this character, like they've done recastings within the MCU. Again, they recasted the Hulk. They recasted the War Machine.
They
So they've
did
done
that real
recastings
quick.
already, huh?
When they did like the War Machine one, they did that so quick, and it just comes back. It just feels like they do it at they do it when it feels like it's beneficial to them to do it. Like the reason they
Mhm.
did the whole War Machine one is because Todd Howard wanted more money than they were giving Robert Downey Jr. and they were like, no.
Yeah.
So
But, I mean, but at the time, like, they got for that first movie, first Iron Man movie, they got Robert Downey Jr. on a major, 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 major
oh
discount.
well, once they did make more money than Robert
He
Downey
did in
Jr.
the
in the
first
first
movie. Yeah,
movie. Todd Howard was the highest paid person on that set.
but yeah, he had some drug
Well,
issues
yeah,
at the
at that
time, so
time,
that's
yeah,
why
that's
that's
part
why
of the
they got.
reason.
But no, I kind of feel like they could have, like, I can name some actors that would have done an excellent job as not necessarily been as good as Chadwick, but they would have did it justice. You know, like the guy. If you ever watched the Watchmen TV show,
Absolutely,
the guy that plays the name of the Blue Man,
Mr. Manhattan,
Mr. Manhattan. Yes, like that guy would have been an
the
excellent
Blue
T'Challa.
Man.
Yeah, like, it just like they could have made it work. I just like I to sum this up, if we can get back on topic, I feel like the MCU is a misstep for some things that are out of their control, but some things that are in their control, and it's we'll see how things turn out with Phase 5, but Phase 4 has been a major L for them, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we're on topic, bro, because it's like, what are we really about to talk about when it comes to something we really truly don't know? But we could talk about how crazy the MCU has been with all of these different things they're trying to do and conjugate over the course of the last couple of years and stuff. So I think that's a good place to leave it. I think a lot of people are still excited. I know when I saw two Avenger movies up there, I was like, didn't they say they were retiring the Avengers technically? I was like, oh, I guess only for a little while. But yeah, it's only a matter of time. But when it comes to like the games and stuff, a lot of people are still really, really just looking for them to do something different. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy was a very, very, very good foot forward, but that was also preceded by a couple of steps in the wrong direction, starting, with Marvel Avengers and stuff that people wasn't a bad game, I hear, when it came to just playing through the story, but
Well, Avengers came first,
what
so
I said
Avengers, yeah,
preceded by the
yeah.
Avengers game. And I think
And
a
that's
lot
really the
people,
only bad one if you
yeah.
think about it.
Well,
Like, if you
it's
think
a
about.
big bad one compared to where people was
Yeah.
coming because it's like it was just it came off the heels of like the excitement around those same exact characters in a cinematic universe. It just didn't hit like, and I hear the story is actually really decent. It's just that everything after the story is like, what is this? So,
Yeah.
so that's the biggest thing. So,
I
uh,
mean, like, Guardians of the Galaxy is good, Spider-Man's good, Miles Morales is good. Those so that they're 3 out of 4 so far, they have been pretty good on. Now, EA is the outlier because EA hasn't really worked on these games yet. So, who knows, right? Potentially, like, they could actually knock it out the park if they actually stick their nose out of it and allow the developer to do what they do, like with Respawn Entertainment. Like, it might turn out really well, like Jedi Fallen Order, or it could bomb. Who knows? But it's supposed to
mhm.
be an open world. Black Panther's supposed to be an open world game. I assume the huge world that is going to be open world is probably Wakanda,
Oh
but
yeah.
which I would love to see how that turns out. And it's supposed to be done by former Monolith developers that had previous worked on Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, which quality games. So, I mean, look, it's got the potential to really be good. I'm a little leery about it, and then we'll see what happens though.
All
Yeah.
right, well, let's let's get a little spicy with this one, man. Let's talk about how Sony was over with the Brazilian regulators and having a conversation about how they're scared of the ownership of Call of Duty and Xbox, even though I don't think they're really scared. It's just a nice little subplot to the whole conversation to have. But yeah, they went over. Well, the Brazilian regulators had a sit. I forget what they actually call them. Slomo. What do they call those? Not a gather. What is the official term for what they had over there?
I
You,
don't know,
I can't
man.
remember the name of it. Um, I just didn't want to miss. I just didn't want to, because Gregor's in the chat. He would have got me, so I didn't want to say it wrong. But they basically just was over there with not just Sony, and I think people kind of forget about that sometimes. It wasn't just Sony; it was pretty much all of the publishers and developers and stuff that was over there that really published
But
games.
Sony was the only
But
one
Sony
that
was the only
kinda
one that went out
gave
and,
a negative impression of, but of course they would,
of
like,
course,
this
they
is a
did.
business,
So
right?
Slomo, why don't you go ahead and tell us exactly what's going on there?
So in Brazil, like it's not just the FTC that's reviewing the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King by Microsoft, but it's anywhere technically where like these games would be sold, and therefore the impact of this acquisition may be affected there, or these all these markets are reviewing it, and so it was being reviewed in Brazil. And apparently, because it's Brazil, I don't know why. Like, apparently, this stuff is all out in the open, all out
Very
in the
out in the
clear,
open.
and people can I guess readily be able to look this stuff up. And so people were able to see comments from many other companies. Some seem to have not given a crap. They're just like whatever, sure. It's don't see a problem with me. Or they've just spoken specifically about how the acquisition doesn't affect them at all. But Sony had some words, and I think what Sony was doing was speaking truth, but being embellishing that truth just a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Like Call of Duty is an amazing IP that can't be replicated by anyone everywhere. Doesn't matter how much money you put in, no matter how many developers you have on it,
It's a
you will
black
never
hole and it sucks all
you
the
would
money out of
never
everything.
ever in your lifetime replicate the kind of success the Call of Duty has. It's just like, I mean, that's true, but it ain't like that. Like it's not that bad.
Shout
Like
out.
but it
Yeah.
is kind of true. I mean, Call of Duty been routinely number one in sales annually when it comes to the video game market that's not mobile
It's like
for
2007 or something, right?
yeah, very every now and then someone else takes it, but it's
Grand Theft
like
Auto. That's
then
about it.
yeah, Grand Theft Auto probably this year with Elden Ring, but then it's like when that happens, they're only number 2. It's like it's still either number
Right.
1, number 2, right? They're usually number 1. But like the brand of Call of Duty is so strong that like Sony does have a point where like if they decided to create a like have 4 development studios specifically that designed to just make first person shooters and have them like all work on like a version of the game and then rotate them around so that like it is coming out on an annual basis, they probably not aren't going to be able to sell at the same clip that Call of Duty sells because they're not Call of Duty. And so like I did a stream about this earlier this week, and I kind of likened it to how like and to give a good example of how strong a brand Call of Duty is in the video game market. iPod. Do you remember back in the day when MP3 players became popular?
Yeah.
People were going around calling them iPods, and they even and it's like iPod is a specific MP3 player,
Yep. I
not
remember.
all the MP3 players. But if you had like a MP3 player that was made by I don't know Samsung, or you had a Zune that was made by Microsoft, people just said hey, you got an iPod, and it's just like that's how strong the brand was.
Right.
That like just like the product itself had taken over the name of the market. And so, like, Call of Duty isn't quite that strong, but like they are like when it comes to like the video game market, if there's any kind of IP that's close enough to nailing that, it's them, right? So that's true. But then like you see Sony saying things talking up Game Pass and how this could potentially make it difficult for us to make money kind of stuff, and it's just like but haven't y'all publicly been talking about how like services like Game Pass cannot be successful?
Hmm.
So it's funny, like this is all really kind of like posturing to make sure that like, well, to try not make sure because I don't think they believe that they have any shot of actually stopping this acquisition from going
No,
through, but to attempt to try to derail it as much as possible. And then you got on the other side, you got Microsoft going, nothing about these Activision games are special or unique.
that was interesting. I was like, yo,
And
are
I'm
y'all
like,
serious right now? How do you think, what's they just said it in the chat? How do you think someone like, how like someone like Bungie felt when they heard something like that? Like, I mean, they probably don't care, but if you were somebody that worked at that studio, worked real hard on that game, and you have, a shooter that you're making, of course, it's not the same thing as something like Call of Duty, but you're still making a shooter, and you still got to pull people away from Call of Duty to play your shooter. How would you feel hearing a company come out and say and ponder to something like, oh, it's this, it is that, and it eats. They pretty much went out there did an Xbox and said it eats monsters for breakfast, basically, because that's what Call of Duty is.
yeah. But look, but all of that, like if you're Bungie or you're any of the other developers, well, why would you be upset at all about what they said? Think about it for a moment. Destiny does not compete with Call of Duty. Like they're in two different genres.
That's
They're two
true.
different kinds of games. The only thing they have in common is very much kind of like now people a few weeks ago trying to compare Halo Infinite and and Destiny, and they're two different kinds of games. Just because they're first person perspective and they're
Right.
shooters doesn't mean that you should directly compare them. It's the same thing with Call of Duty. Call of Duty shouldn't be compared with Destiny either. And I don't think Bungie really cares for that much, or any of the other studios. Because like if you're Naughty Dog, you don't care that Sony said that we don't make first person shooters. I don't. We don't make them kind of games. We do. We have a completely different outlook and goal when we make our games than they make with Call of Duty. So like, why would we care? And that's for the vast majority of Sony first party games as well. Now, I say that if Sony really felt how they felt, where it's impossible to make anything that can compete with Call of Duty, they wouldn't be investing in games to try to compete with
With
Call
Call
of
of
Duty.
Duty, they
Because
yeah,
clearly
exactly.
they are investing in games that they hope by the time this marketing contract with Activision is up and they no longer have the marketing for Call of Duty, that they're going to have a competitor to Call of Duty out there to potentially compete and deal with the fact that they don't want to have the best selling game on their platform be by their competition.
Yeah, that's
So if
that's
they
the way I
really
look
kind
at
of
it.
felt like it was impossible, why would you waste billions of dollars trying to do it if it was impossible? They probably think it's unlikely, but we need to try. They what they want is they know Call of Duty would be in the top 5 sold software on PlayStation annually, even after the marketing's gone. But what they want is that they want Deviations games or Firewalks games or somebody's game to be right up there with it
Yeah, they want to be they don't-
or
li-
stealing
yeah.
its thunder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want that situation where, I mean, let's be for real. That everybody's petty, and trust me, Sony loves the fact that their games can sit at the top of an MPD chart at the end of the year, and there's no sight of an Xbox game up there 90% of the time. This time around, even though it is something, and let's be for real, Microsoft pays for a lot of different things. They paid for Halo, for God's sakes. People keep forgetting about that, but that wasn't something that was built by them. It was built by Bungie, and they purchased Bungie to get up there. But they get used to that type of stuff. And you don't want to see your competitors' names in lights when it comes to like that. And then there's just other repercussions when it comes to, the whole Game Pass scenario. Like when it comes to like, I always told people generations don't start until Call of Duty says they start. And it's not just Call of Duty. You're talking about the Maddens, the NBAs, the
2Ks.
2Ks and stuff like that, because people want to think that they really have you really dictate what's going on in the console generation, where we're just a very small piece of it. We're a very, like, very small piece of the overwhelming majority of people that don't care about 90% of the games you're talking about, because all they do is pick up Call of Duty, Madden, or NBA every year. Well, Grand Theft Auto is the only other one that that pretty much everybody plays. But outside of those four games, when they decide to say, "Oh, it's time for a new generation," we're not supporting the last one, that's when people really start to listen. And that's when you see the frenzy of people saying, "I need to get a next generation console." And that's the thing I think Sony is mostly afraid of, because as of right now, everything is still above board. The biggest thing that they were talking about is the fact that, not that Microsoft is possibly going to own Activision, ABK basically, it's the fact that they have an opportunity to say, "Hey, that $70 game that's on my system that you have to pay for, you could just walk to another platform and get it a part of a subscription service." And is that inherently a bad thing? No, but that undercuts the one thing that Sony needs and wants the most. They want you to buy full price games on their platform, and they want to dictate the pricing structure around that on their platform. And guess what? If you can't do that with the biggest game that releases on your platform, and people have an option to get that game somewhere else a lot cheaper, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are going to choose to go in that direction. And I think that's where they kind of get the whole, they can influence console purchases. But let me ask you something, Slow Mo. If you're a person that purchases something, it is yours and you own it, should you or should you not get a competitive advantage on what you do and say with that game? Is that something that is inherently something that always happens with stuff like this, or am I just crazy?
No, of course you should. You should like look when this acquisition gets completed and when the contractual obligations are up, the only marketing Call of Duty will ever have will be with Xbox.
Hmm.
And Sony knows full and well as Xbox, what that means on the back end of things. What that means will be more than just, oh, we got the marketing. There's some people who don't understand what like the implication of that really is. Like having the marketing for this game means that you can kind of manipulate the casual market. You can create bundles with like Xbox Series S and Call of Duty and get people buying them, like by the truckloads, right?
Hmm.
You can make commercials for the next Call of Duty and then have just Xbox at the end of it. And they're gonna be some younger gamers. They're gonna be some casual gamers who are gonna get fooled into thinking that what Call of Duty's on Xbox now. Because that's back in 2015, those people were fooled. Well, not them specifically, but there was another generation of gamers that were fooled into thinking that Call of Duty was only on PlayStation.
Yeah. I do have a question for you though, and Capono just kind of made me think about it. Okay, do you think that, because we know Sony probably went out their way, especially after the whole MLB thing with putting games into Game Pass. Do you think that Call of Duty has some type of clause in it saying that
It
it can,
depends,
I mean, do you actually, because that's the biggest thing right there. Like, do I think
but
this year's Call
it,
of
it
Duty will
depends.
go?
It
No.
depends when Activision renewed the
Will
deal with
renew the
Sony.
deal, right?
If this deal is like a long-standing deal that supersedes when Game Pass started to really grow in subscription numbers, then probably not. It probably wasn't even on Sony's mind. If this deal was renewed like last year or the year before, like in 2020, more than likely there is a clause that like your game can't be in Game Pass. But it
Right.
probably won't specifically say Game Pass, but for the first X amount of days after launch, game can't be in any kind of subscription service, which would then exclude Game Pass as well as anything else.
Right.
And make certain that it's not a launch game; it's a Game Pass. That's your goal, but you kind of like create the language in the contract so that it's not directly saying you can't do Game Pass. Just to, just in case, there's some other thing that pops up that might actually be viable. But um, I mean, it's not 100% guaranteed that's not in it. I know for a fact, we'll know for certain this fall with Modern Warfare 2. So
Yeah.
when Modern Warfare 2 comes out, and if this deal, well,
If
with
the
two
deal
things,
is complete and it
if
doesn't
the
go to
deal is
Game Pass,
complete
yeah.
before Modern Warfare 2 comes out and it's not in Game Pass, then yes, there is something in the marketing contract with Sony that prevents those games going into Game Pass. And so, although you may be able to get like the old stuff, like all the old Call of Duty games in there with no problem, you're not going to get launch Call of Duty games in Game Pass until the contract's up. But if it is in there, then yeah, like that's going to be big
Look out
for
below.
Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look up below indeed.
Oh,
Rand,
ran down
You
my
know,
so
Bridge
hard.
4 brother
I was
is here.
I was listening and I'm like, my Bridge 4 brothers in here, Forte's in. I'm like, I'm gonna join. I'm gonna join the call. You
Oh,
know?
well, you are more than welcome to, sir. The funny thing, I
Well,
wasn't even looking at the Discord screen, and then all of a sudden you just started talking.
Yeah, I shocked me. I was just like, that voice sounds familiar. Who is that? Is
Yeah,
that, is that
well,
Rand Althor? What's up? Going
yeah.
on, Rand?
So
How's it going, man?
shout out to the man with the million, man. So when you came in at the right part, man. We given the whole. I listened to your video earlier. Great video, by the way.
do
Left
you
a
like
like
do you
on
like
it.
my Italian accent?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
nice.
terrible, but it was still a
It
good
was, it
video.
was.
I was like, did he literally just try to sound Italian? It was terrible, but okay, we'll go with it.
Hey,
But
we gotta try. Gotta have a little fun with some stuff, right?
absolutely. So Rand, what do you think about this whole situation and everything going on?
I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny as shit because you have two publishers taking the two exact opposite stances. You have one publisher basically on their knees sucking off a game, right? Like their fan base sucks off their games on Twitter,
Mhm.
right? And then you have the other publisher who's just like, these games are nothing special. And it's just funny to kind of like figure out the truth. Where does the truth lie? You know? So to see Sony essentially argue that the deal should be blocked because of certain possibilities that may exist in the future is interesting, right? Because like Sony's whole argument is that Call of Duty is special. Right? You saw the adjectives they used to describe the game: indescribable and what else? Has no rival and
Yeah.
all these things. Like they were literally talking about that game like a second coming of Jesus Christ,
They laid it on thick,
right?
bro.
They're laying it on think because you have to keep in mind about who they're talking to. They're not talking to like me or you. They're not talking to anybody on Twitter, the gaming
Right.
Twitter or whatever. They're talking to regulators who may not have any idea what the video game industry is all about. So you have to talk in these expansive adjectives to describe something. Like Call of Duty is important, and that's what Sony's trying to get across to these people. Like so important that people determine like the console they're going to choose over because of it, right?
Yep.
And Microsoft counters with the opposite, and there's nothing unique about any of these games
So
at all. Which, sure, and it makes sense because when you think about who they're talking to, Sony's arguing that this game is special. And then when you combine it with their viewpoint on Game Pass, which is probably the most interesting thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whatever. We know Call of Duty is extremely popular and it's the biggest game out there. Like Sony's speaking truth, they're just exaggerating. Well,
Yes.
you could even argue they're not even exaggerating, right? Because there is some truth to what they're saying. Like to get to Call of Duty's success level, you would have to have a developer, multiple developers, and dedicate multiple resources to be able to essentially make that game. Like one of the reasons Call of Duty is so successful is they dedicate what 9 studios to it essentially.
Yeah, it's like it's at least 4. Wait.
Well, so you got like
Yeah.
3 main studios, but then you have a whole bunch of side studios
Mm,
like High Moon and
Like
Beanox and
satellites and stuff.
Raven.
Yeah.
Toys
Nobody
for Bob
else,
or something, whatever his name
yeah,
is. Yeah.
like, nobody else can do that in the industry, which is why nobody else has Call of Duty. But they talk about Game Pass, which is where the rubber hits the road, and their true motivations are revealed
Mhm.
because they talk about like, oh, okay, with Game Pass, you need like a broad range of content and all this stuff, and that's why Microsoft was going on the acquisition spree. And then they ended it by saying, but if you let them add Activision Blizzard games, then it becomes a tipping point where it's all to me it almost sounds like Sony saying it's not fair at that point, right? Because then
Right.
they talk about like the idea of that it could be anti-competitive to have a subscription service essentially undercut the publishers out there who pour millions of dollars into a single what do they call it, like per pay or pay once thing, like at $70. So Sony's basically saying, look, there's a possibility in the future that we and our business are going to be severely impacted, that we won't be able to compete if Microsoft is sending these, basically giving these games away for $10 if they have Call of Duty on top of it. Like, poor Sony over here, us, we're spending $200 million and more in Ragnarok, and we're selling it for $70. We just can't compete with these people giving it away for free. And that's
Which
the
is
argument for the
funny.
Brazilian thing,
Yeah,
right?
which is funny because like all of their like public comments of in regards to in interviews and stuff like that, where like someone mentions Game Pass, they're talking about the viability of even doing that. Like they're not going to be able to do that in the long term.
Yeah.
You can't really compete doing that. That's not going to work. And then, but it kind of goes to show, I think, that like what you say in the public eye, you say for certain reasons, and what you say, in a courtroom or whatever, like venue this was in Brazil, is a whole other thing. Whether you believe it or not, you're saying it because you're trying your best to make sure that the people, the regulators there in Brazil, are seeing it as far as a negative light for you as possible. You're like, please look at what they're doing to us.
Look at what they're doing. This is going to be bad for our business. So like just the Call of Duty thing by itself really doesn't mean much. It's only when you combine it with Sony's thoughts on Game Pass where it becomes pretty apparent what they're angling for, which is
Mm,
why I said in my video that they're scared, they're threatened, they're a little bit worried, right? It doesn't mean that PlayStation's doomed. It just means that they're looking at it like, God, you know what would be good for us if this deal was blocked? Because
Yeah.
then we wouldn't have
right.
to worry about any of
Yeah. We ain't got
this,
to worry about it.
right?
Exactly.
But then,
I do like the response,
The
because apparently there was
Microsoft's
a response
response?
by
Oh
Microsoft.
my god.
Microsoft response is great
Yes,
because, like I
yeah.
said, it's you got to remember who they're talking to. Microsoft is trying to convince the regulators that there's nothing special about Call of Duty, right? And you can actually take historical evidence that what they're saying is 100% true, right? You look at Nintendo Switch and the Wii and stuff. I couldn't even tell you, and Forte and Sloma, when was the last time Switch had a Call of Duty game?
They haven't had one since
Well, you mean
Wii U.
Nintendo, because the Switch
I
has
mean
never had a
Nintendo.
Call of
Since
Duty.
Wii
Yeah, like
Yeah, when's the last
since
time
Wii
that
U.
Nintendo had?
They had
Yeah,
Black Ops
like
2, Wii U.
Nintendo is dominating everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't have Call of Duty, right? What is the biggest PC marketplace right now?
Steam.
And when's the last time Steam had a Call of Duty game?
This is the first year they'll have it since I believe 2014.
Right, and somehow without Call of Duty, both Nintendo and Steam were able to become the biggest, marketplace. Like
Ecosystems for
they were
games.
able to compete without Call of Duty. So that's what they mean by must have and not unique. So it's like those storefronts to be able to compete without these things. Now you could say, well, Nintendo insulated themselves well, and Sony really hasn't. But that's neither here nor there. Microsoft is just telling regulators that there's nothing special about Call of Duty in the realm of competition because other platforms have essentially like they don't need it, and it's
So,
clear. Like the
so
proof is in the pudding.
in a way, is it like saying Sony just needs to get off the Call of Duty tit and make content that will make not having Call of Duty,
Well,
even though they would still have Call of Duty regardless,
Call of Duty
but
was a
not having Call of Duty as like with all the advantages of marketing and getting content early time and all that stuff pointless if you have content that you actually can actually put out there that people want. So, which Sony does have that. They just have it in different arenas. Like they don't have it in the multiplayer arena
well.
yet. They're trying to get there, but
Well,
I just
Well,
think it's
so
interesting.
Call of Duty is a crutch to all of these companies that this game is on because it's an instant baked in 30% no matter where you play it at for whatever platform it's going to be on, with the exception of Battle.net, since that was their own launcher.
Mhm.
And with Call of Duty being by far the most sold game every year, and it being anywhere from a 70 to 60 split between what platforms people buy the game on, that's a lot of money for them to lose. And look, they lived off of that. Let's be for real, they lived off that 30% for a long time with Call of Duty. And then it's just the fact, like you said, Rand, it just comes back to the fact that they're trying to push $70 games over there. And like you said, it's not even the fact that Call of Duty, Call of Duty can stay over there. We kept saying this right when the acquisition happened. The deal about Call of Duty being on PlayStation, not a big problem. The deal is going to come down to, are you going to spend $70 for Call of Duty, or are you going to, if you're already a part of a Game Pass subscription model on PC or anywhere else, are you going to want to just play it as part of your subscription fee? And that's where the rubber kind of meets the road. And that's the thing that everybody is sitting there like, what's going to happen? People never thought that. We used to throw pie in the sky, Call of Duty coming to Game Pass or anything like that. Cyberpunk coming to Game Pass, and people was like, oh, and companies would come out and say, no, that's never going to happen. We're not doing that. No one ever thought a game that sold anywhere of 20 to 25 million units in a calendar year would hit a subscription service like Game Pass. And that is an actual reality when this deal goes through.
well, I mean, like when Elder Scrolls hit, because Elder Scrolls is massive, right?
Yes.
But even still, that's like years and years away.
Yeah,
And people
years
had
here.
hope for Halo Infinite. And well, I mean, we know how Halo Infinite panned out. I mean,
Yeah, we don't talk
20
about
million
Halo.
in
We don't
like a
talk
month
about
or
that
whatever.
here
Yeah,
anymore.
we try not to
Talk
to
about
mention
Halo
I know,
no
I know.
more.
the disappointment of Halo Infinite
But
over here. But
like
go ahead.
Forte, because I talked to you about this. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sick of this Activision Blizzard
Yes.
like deal. It's boring. And it ain't boring no more.
Nope.
Because you got Microsoft and Sony basically fighting within the parameters of the business of within the regulators, trying to like, one's trying to get it blocked and the other one's trying to make it go through. And it's just interesting to sit on the sidelines because I don't know if you saw, but even Microsoft was like calling out Sony's hypocrisy
Yes.
regarding third-party
As
exclusives.
they should.
Like it's kind of just like, listen, like you used the market leader leverage. You used the strength that you had at the time and spent millions and millions of dollars and leveraged your, how big you were to get deals from other publishers to basically exclude it from our platform.
Yeah,
Like
games that you didn't even own. Right, right.
yeah,
Which
and
is fair
it's
business, but
fair
then like you
business.
can't complain about this
Yeah,
when you
you
do
can't
that.
you
Yeah.
can't bitch about it. Like Sony, look, different. I think the difference is that Nintendo built a business where like people buy the Switch for their games, right?
Right.
For the Mario Karts and the Zeldas and stuff like that. And people do buy, third party there, clearly.
Hmm.
Yeah, clearly.
Sony's business was always built on basically third party games. And I know people like to talk about like the God of Wars and the Last of Us's and all that stuff, but Sony's basically been the home of this is where third party lives, right?
Yeah.
And to them, losing Call of Duty, as they've said in their thing, like would be a huge hit to them. They take a massive, massive hit in their yearly revenue. The thing that they're fighting against is the future, because Sony, as we've heard Jim Ryan talk about, they don't believe that, putting their games in day one as subscription is the way forward. But he's also said we'll see what the future goes. They're worried that they might have to shift their business strategy. They're worried that Microsoft's play here could directly affect their bottom line. And it's something that everybody's gonna have to look at, because if you look at Game Pass, and I don't think people really realize this. This also goes to cloud gaming. People always sit in the here and now, right? Like cloud gaming and what Microsoft is doing here and now. Some people don't like it, whatever. But the reality is these things and these moves are all forward looking, right? Essentially, the analogy I'll try to use is, we're all old. We're all old here, right? I believe I'm the youngest. Thank God.
I don't know
So,
about that.
Oh, hold on, hold on.
wait,
How
wait.
I
old are
don't
you?
know
How
about
old are you,
that.
Rand?
I turned 41 this year.
Oh, okay, so
Okay,
you got me.
yeah.
You got me
He got me
by a
by he
year.
got me by a year
Yeah,
too.
You're
I'm still
younger
the
than me
youngest.
by a year. Forte is the old fart here. Go ahead.
Yeah, but
What?
we were able to live through the generation where things changed with technology, right? We all grew up with rotary phones,
Yep.
Hmm.
right? And then cell phones that were huge and
All
pagers
the
to
way
like
down to
the
a
stuff it is
StarTech.
now, right? Right? We went through the gambit. But you look at like kids growing up now, what's normalized for them is like iPad. Like, you don't have an iPad, you're weird, right?
Facts.
Yeah.
Because that's just how it is. You have to take that line of thinking and look at what Microsoft is doing and apply it to the future. So like right now, like none of us cloud gaming, who cares? Who cares, right? It's not good enough yet. The thing is, we didn't grow up like that. See, Microsoft's trying to do a thing where as kids age into video games and graduate from smaller stuff to, like PlayStation, Xbox, right? Is that cloud gaming is just going to be a normal thing, and it'll be normal for future generations to grow up to be able to use it. But apply that same logic to Game Pass, right? So you have a situation where Game Pass comes out. We've been gaming all of our lives since the NES.
Mm-hmm.
We've never had a thing like Game Pass. It's amazing. But eventually it's going to come a generation where kids that are like 10 right now in 5 years will be 15, and they'll get their first Xbox or whatever. And the only thing they'll know from day one is Game Pass. And the only thing they'll know from day one is that Call of Duty is Xbox, right?
Yep.
So you got to think about the future that's going to be laid off here, which is what these companies always have to think about. So Sony's looking at it, this Xbox Call of Duty deal and Game Pass and all that stuff, where the future generations and how they consume and pay for content might be skewed to the point where it really affects Sony's future bottom line. Because
Yeah.
kids, when they grow up, will think to themselves, why am I paying $70 for something when I can get it in a subscription service? Why doesn't Sony have a subscription service, right? You already have kids now who think games should be free because
Yeah,
they're
they
growing
do.
up with like mobile games. Like,
Yeah.
to us, that's weird because we didn't grow up that way. But nobody ever really talks about it like this, about like what it's going to look like 5 to 10 years from now when you have kids that aren't playing yet but will play, suddenly are like, Game Pass is basically just how it always was for them. And you know what I'm saying? So Sony's worried about that, and Microsoft is like licking their lips because, I don't know what your topics are, but like, the Xbox Family Plan that was announced today, right? They're gonna basically give 5 people, and you can spend $25 a month to play Game Pass Ultimate.
Wait,
So now you're gonna have
wait. Say again, because I was at work today, so I didn't see that one. What they announced that today? Actually,
Slomo. You saw it today, Slomo, right?
No, I was working as well today.
I'm
What?
telling
Even though I
you,
work
shout
from
out-
home, and even though Forte acts like I don't do any work
Okay,
from
okay,
home,
yeah, because
I was working and I didn't see this.
yeah,
man.
I literally didn't get on Twitter until 7 o'clock. And okay, so you're telling me that I knew the family plan was going to get announced. So 5
Well,
people.
yeah. I mean, I saw the doc because me and Jess had the document, so I saw them. Yes.
So 5
So
people.
so Microsoft announced that Xbox Game Pass Family Plan is in insider testing in Colombia and Ireland as of right now.
Oh.
So basically one person can add up to 4 of your friends within the same country. You don't even need to be in the same household. You got to be in the same country,
Hmm.
and you get all the benefits of Game Pass. And essentially, the math works out to it's $25 a month for 5 people to get Game Pass Ultimate,
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
So now you think about the ramifications of that.
oh
You think
yeah.
about how people might become marketing tools for Xbox, where now you're like, I got Game Pass, I can put you on my family plan, right? People buy Xbox Series S's, more people get, like, do you see where this is heading? Do you see
Yeah.
why Sony might be a little bit concerned about the idea of Microsoft, a $1 trillion company, owning Call of Duty and all these other franchises with Bethesda and all their own stuff, competing at the level of offering this stuff for $5 a month while they're trying to sell you $70 games? And usually, what has won out over the generations? It's always convenience and low pricing.
Yeah.
Like, we lived through the era with nobody. I remember distinctly back when we were growing up, people would say nobody would ever subscribe to a subscription service to listen to music, right?
I remember it.
DVD, like CDs, will never go out of style. And then Spotify and Apple came along, and now it's just now nobody buys CDs. Everybody just subscribes, right? So it's just then the kids growing up now. The only thing they're gonna the only thing they're gonna know is this is how I listen to music, and it's
But you
Spotify or Apple Music, and they
but
don't know about
you know
CDs.
what
But this is why Sony is investing. This is why they made the acquisition of Bungie. This is why they are investing in like what 11 live service games over the next 5 years, because it's like they see the changing and they see like they can say whatever they want to a Brazilian regulators or whoever. Like this deal's going through, so like you're gonna you can try to stand in the way of it and get blown over, or you can actually make some long term plans to try to mitigate the damage this is going to take and try to hopefully create your own homegrown things that you can rely on that could do similar things that Call of Duty does without actually having to have Call of Duty, which they admitted is going to be difficult to do. Basically, it said so with their statement to the regulators, but at the same time, they're going to still try it regardless. So you got Deviation Games, you got like Firewalk, you got whoever
Well, yeah, I
Jay
mean,
Raymond studio is like they're gonna try to get help have Bungie help get these teams up to speed so that by the time they lose out on that marketing deal, by the time that you're gonna start seeing commercials with bundles of Xboxes with Call of Duty and all the commercials have Xbox on them, and that's all the casual market sees is Call of Duty and Xbox. They're gonna hope that they got like their own Fortnite or their
sure.
own Apex Legends that they can rely on to
But
say, all
was
right,
that the reason they started to make those games in the first place? I would say no. I would say they simply looked at their own earnings and saw that DLC and microtransactions make them the most
make
money,
them the most money,
and
yeah.
they did this. Were like, you know what? Let's make our own games. Where we,
Well,
you know what I mean?
and they saw that, you know, with their financial report, just like everybody was tripping over Xbox and saying third party isn't getting as much sales on Xbox as people think it is when it comes to microtransactions. But then Sony comes out with their quarterly earnings report and it's pretty much the same thing. So maybe they're looking at it saying, okay, we're not making as much in third party no more when it comes to, you know, maybe it's just due to the time of year that we're in, because usually the second and third quarter are kind of the deadest when it comes to stuff like that, because most of the game, then a lot of stuff got delayed out of these quarters into later quarters or into next year. So that could have a lot to do with it. I just think in general, it mostly just comes back to the perception that they're saying we need to make our own stuff and we need to write our own path when it comes to that. I just always
yeah,
find this one conversation interesting due to the fact of, you know, just how they went into this conversation with the regulators. And I agree 100% with you, Rand. They went in there and they were pondering like a mug. But the biggest thing is just so crazy just to hear this same company that not even 13, not even less than 10 years ago had they own the company now in Bungie, but they literally had an IP named Destiny that you couldn't even Bungie couldn't even show a Xbox controller in a
Yeah.
Vidoc, in a stream. They couldn't even like you couldn't even have cover art in a store that said Xbox on it. They
Bro, those Sony marketing deals were,
couldn't do
they were
anything.
something else.
But guess what? But look, to the point where they had year-long DLC exclusivity for games that people never got on Destiny 1 because Destiny 2 came out and who was going to play Destiny 1 anymore. So it's just real interesting hearing this. And like I said, it just ultimately comes back to they know exactly what's going on and they know who they're speaking to and they want to try to stop this as cold as possible. But like you said, I just love what Xbox did when it came to that. They were just like, listen. And then if you look at those,
Forte,
go ahead.
think about how they craft their marketing deals. There's a reason
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
it's a reason.
Yeah, because same thing with Control. They had marketing deal for Control with Remedy and 505 Games, and the Control, like the Remedy devs, couldn't even mention Xbox. Couldn't even mention that the game was coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
Like that's on purpose because like the goal is to is to bring the perception that this game is only on PlayStation when it isn't.
But I also think it was real interesting if you think of it just from the Sony perspective, how Sony was pretty much screaming at a wall by themselves because as soon as all the other publishers and developers started talking about how this impacted, overall sales and stuff, they said it's just it's a game. They was like they didn't see this whole conspiracy of, nothing could compete with it. Where Sony was like, they were the only ones saying, yeah, Call of Duty can't nobody compete with that. And all the rest of these developers and publishers is like, oh no, we have games out there now. Every
Like
game
this
isn't the
doesn't
same.
affect me.
This doesn't affect
I don't know how
me.
many times I saw like the response for some of these publishers is
Like,
this doesn't affect me.
affect me.
Some of them might even look at it like it might have advantages because even though Phil and them has come out and said we'll keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, hypothetically, let's say he's lying. Some people think he's lying, right? You talk to
Right.
certain people in the community, and they think it's all just smoke and mirrors, right? That they're gonna say this one thing, and then when the deal goes done, sorry, all we really meant was we're not gonna take old Call of Duties away. All future Call of Duties are gonna be exclusive, right?
Right.
Well, there's might be some publishers that are just like, well, it really doesn't matter, anyways, to us. But let's say if Xbox does make Call of Duty exclusive, which by the way, I don't think they will,
Right.
but let's just go hypothetically along with the discussion. That might be good for the Ubisofts, for the Warner Brothers, for the EAs, because if Microsoft makes it exclusive, that means there's a market that opens up on PlayStation
Yeah,
that they
Yeah.
could fill the void in.
right.
So to those
A big
publishers,
market. Yeah.
so the publishers, they're like, it's not a big deal. Activision acquisition, not a big deal whatsoever. Who really even cares?
Right.
To
Yeah,
Sony, they're like,
for us,
well,
that's taking away a chip of competition away.
yeah,
Like, imagine if you're EA with Battlefield, the gameplay that Forte is playing right now. EA would be like, yeah, do that.
yeah. Well, they got to actually create a good Battlefield game first, though.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Picture that, right? But but like, I'm pretty sure they're thinking in mind like for future Battlefield games. Sure, yeah. Not having to compete with Call of Duty on PlayStation with that player base, I'm down with that. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Go ahead and
I
make
was
that
having this
acquisition.
I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, Slomo, and I
Mhm.
asked this in another Discord. You mentioned Sony's live service games, right?
Yeah,
Um, so let's just say the one we do know about that's coming soon, maybe next year, maybe 2024, Last of Us Factions, right? You
yeah.
got the Deviation game, you got Haven, right? So my question to you is, what do you expect the pricing model to be for Last of Us Factions,
Mm,
and do you expect it also to either be day one on PC or later on PC?
I think okay, two things. If it's free, if it's free, it's gonna be day one on PC.
Okay, okay.
And it's gonna have microtransactions, it's gonna have
Well, you
cosmetics.
already know it's gonna have microtransactions
Yeah.
regardless of whether
It's
Regardless of
have
what
the
they
money.
do.
the level of microtransactions is gonna be more
I
than
would
it
say
would be
that
if it's
I would say the microtransactions levels will be the same regardless of whether or not it's paid for or free.
hmm.
I mean, look
I
at the microtransactions level on it when it was with, Last of Us Remastered, the first one.
Yeah,
It
it
was
does
very
have
heavy. And
very
Uncharted
heavy,
4,
yeah.
it was very heavy. So I think
Yeah.
I think it'll be the same no matter what.
You're
But
probably
go ahead.
right. But no, but just I think if it's free, whether it launches on PC or not, I think it's going to be determined by whether it's free or not. Because if it's free, I think what they're gonna want to have as many people playing it as possible, and you add in the PC community, you're gonna make sure that you definitely don't have any issues with potential, like say like Destruction All Stars had, where they had to introduce bots like less than 3 months into the life cycle of the game because the player base dropped off after a month.
Well, it's
Uh,
'cause nobody cared about Destruction All Stars. It was a bad game at
That's true.
launch. Yeah.
true, but
We're
like
assuming Last of Us Factions is actually gonna be good, right?
yeah, it's look, the previous one was good. Then I think this one's probably gonna be good too. But just to kind of mitigate those kind of issues, or maybe you might potentially have some server issues or things going on at launch, that you will have like more people to play, a pool of people to play from than before. I think if you make it free, that's going to be on PC at
Put
launch. If
gun to
it's
your
not
head.
I
free,
think I
I think
think
Give
I
me
think they're going to stagger it.
I
slow mo Stradamus. I want
Yes.
I want your prediction right now. I want to say, is it free to play in day one on PC, or is
It's
it
free to play. It's free to play on
$70 and
PC.
PC later, or
It's
some
it's
combination?
it's it's a free to play game on PC.
I think that game's gonna be
On both.
available.
I'm sorry, like it's a free to play game on PlayStation 5 and PC, and it'll be
Yeah,
on launch on both
Hmm.
platforms. Yeah.
I
So,
think
do you
yep.
feel the same about Haven and Deviation then?
I don't know. I don't. I will need to know more about what they're actually making. I think Haven. Actually, no. I think we got a little bit of information about Haven. I think Haven also is a free game, just based upon like the very little information that I got off of it. It seemed like this is something that would be other games that have some of those features are free. So I think that it will be a free game, but Deviation, I'm not certain. I need to know more about what they're making.
Yeah, I think Factions is going to be a paid game, and I think even if it was, even with it being paid, I think it's going to be everywhere day one. I just think that the more, I think when it comes, I think they have a completely different thought process when it comes to their multiplayer only games. When it comes to their
Hmm.
when it comes to their single player, I think they're going to be business as usual, and they're just going to, cut down the time that is allowed for a game to go over to PC from anywhere from 6 months to probably 3 months, or it could get as low as 2 months. Who knows? But I think for multiplayer purposes, where the more people you have in the funnel, the better chances your game has to be of like catching on to people. I think you're going to see those games hit the multiple platforms day and date when it comes to PC and
See,
PC.
I
I
will say this.
feel,
Oh,
I
oh, oh,
feel,
go ahead, Ryan.
I feel Last of Us Factions is going to copy the Destiny formula. I think the base,
Expansion
whatever.
wise,
I think the expansion or like the base game will be free, like Destiny 2 is, and they'll do like the seasons or whatever with the battle
yeah, I
passes,
agree with
and then
that.
they'll have
Have paid
$40
expansions.
expansions that people can pay for. Like I sort of like look at them like, oh, I think they're gonna do the Destiny model. I mean, now that they also own Bungie, I think that could
But
potentially
they
work because you get the whole premium angle. Like I think that's what they'll go for. But the big
what
question
would
for
Here's
they
me
the
is,
difference with that,
do with
Ryan,
that
because like
though?
because the Destiny community had already got accustomed to paying for things, and because like they didn't go start doing free to even play the game until like after
It was after
Destiny 1 was already done, and then halfway into the Destiny
it
2
was
life
at
spike.
it was after Beyond Light. That's when they did it.
Yeah, it's just so I think that like it was easier for Bungie to do that, to still charge people for expansions, even though the base game was free, because the community had already become accustomed to spending $40 on an expansion on an annual basis. But if you do that with factions, with something that's like a sequel to a mode from a different game, I think that you might end up splitting your player base, because there are going to be people who are going to jump in it for free and then be like, "Oh, I got to spend $40 to do this too." Like, I think you're gonna get some people that are gonna end up missing out, because they're gonna be some people that just like, I just like to play it free. I'm not gonna spend money on too much money on this, and then they're gonna end up not having all of the content. And so you might end up having the people who are spending all the money to continue to keep up with the content, having a dwindling player base of people playing that newer stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can see them
Yeah.
doing a season pass model and stuff. Not season pass. I can see them doing like a battle pass model. I do think that's going to be a big part of it. It's just that I'm trying to see like what's the expanse. How expansive can you make Last of Us be in that type of setting? Like it's easy to do. I mean, and even if you think of other games like Call of Duty, doesn't even come close to what Bungie does with Destiny when it comes to like how expansive it is. I mean, it's two different things. I can see like the overall situation where they do seasons and stuff like that. I definitely can see that be a thing where they're consistently updating, cosmetics in the game. You're getting different things and stuff like that, to the point like how Fortnite is consistently turning stuff out. I don't think we'll ever get as fast as Fortnite, like Epic does with Fortnite, but I do see Last of Us being something like that when it comes to the
Cosmetic
factions
stuff.
mode, when it comes to the cosmetic stuff. But when it comes
Yeah.
to like opening it up, something like Destiny, I think that will be reserved for something completely new that they can kind of like foster that community over time. Because, like he said, the Bungie community didn't really fall for that right out the back. It was like 3 DLCs a year. We was waiting for content, and then it kind of just fell into that because they couldn't make it fast enough. And it was like, well, instead of making you wait 3 to 6 months for something new, we're going to give you consistent drops throughout the year. So instead of 1 or 2 drops, you're going to get 4. And I think that was kind of the way that they kind of married that to the community now. But it's
Hey,
interesting to see
Forza,
how
hold up.
that'll
We
go.
got a super chat
Chuck,
from
go ahead.
we got super chat from the biggest Fortnite whale that I know
Next
by
to you.
far.
Next to
Who's
you.
that? Who's that?
Blaze 4K.
Oh, Blaze. What's up, Blaze?
Blaze 4K with the $5 super chat says, just wait. 2023 LOL, nothing has changed. Yeah, of course, that's
Oh.
that's the kind of response I
Who said
expect
just
from.
wait? I don't think those words passed anybody's lips on this show yet. Have it? I
Nah,
don't think so.
I don't think
think
so.
I think he's just
I
saying
think
just
Blaze is
wait.
just taking a shot. You know
Yeah,
how
just
he
wait.
is.
It's
I
not
mean,
changing.
he ain't wrong. Xbox's 2022 is dog crap. I mean, there's
I
no getting
mean,
around that.
I mean,
Even though
Yeah,
As
if
Dust
you
Falls was,
I
even though
like
As
As
Dust
Dust
Falls was
Falls.
really good.
Yeah,
Well, there ain't much else coming out this year, unfortunately.
you don't want
right.
to play
So,
Pentiment?
I mean, I'll play. You know the funny thing, and I know you know this, Forte, because I said it on Xbox too.
Uh-huh.
Jez leaked what Pentiment looked like in the article
He
where he first
did.
talked about the game.
He did.
He
You know what?
did.
I saw it and I was like, maybe I was like, I mentally told myself that's not it. Like
It says that better not be it.
I was
That it
like,
was, and
no, it's
people
not
were
it. Nah,
surprised.
nah, that's not
It's like,
it. That's
yeah.
that's just I don't know what that is. I don't know why Jez got that in there, but that's not it. And then we saw the trailer. I was like, damn, that was
He
it.
showed this. Slumber
Mm.
was sitting up there on the stream. Was like, man, I was hoping this was what this game was gonna be like.
Bruh. And here's the thing, I was hoping because like the whole like when Jez first broke the story, he was like, it's gonna be like they're kind of like Disco Elysium. And I was like, well, bet because I like Disco Elysium. And just finishing the game this year, I was like, man, that RPG was awesome. So like I'm thinking like art style wise, like Disco Elysium has kind of like this like almost like a watercolor, like a painting kind of
Yeah,
look.
it looks really
You know,
good, right?
it looks good. It's a low poly look. It's not hard on the hardware, but it looks good. It's a unique look that can last years and years. It's not going to be like, oh, like you look at some of these other games that like back in like 2015 tried to go for a photorealistic look. You look at it now, you're like, that ain't aged too well. Disco Elysium is a game that like almost kind of like with Borderlands with cell shading. It's going to be fine because of the art style. But then you look at Pentiment and it's just like that don't even look good right now. It's just like
Right.
um but again, that's not the kind like the people who enjoy those kind of games aren't going to care about how it looks visually. But I knew, and I said this to Forte, as soon as they showed the trailer, I just started laughing because I was like, yo, people are going to fry this game so much. One, because of how it looks, but two, because they lack content for this year. There's going to be added pressure put onto this game that doesn't really need to
I
be
think
there.
I think it's more than two. I think if Starfield and Redfall were coming out this year, people would just be like, "Oh, Pentiment, cool. All
Yeah,
right, I'll play Starfield and Redfall." Right?
right.
But it's because it's the only thing this fall. Yeah, then it like blows, especially when it's coming out side by side of God of War Ragnarok. Which is not a good thing for that game or for
Right.
Xbox versus PlayStation if you look at it
Yeah.
from that side. It is what it is, unfortunately. I think
Yeah.
it'll be a good game. Josh Sawyer knows what he's doing. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's been angled from the beginning to be an indie darling, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like 10 people working on it. So it's just one of those things where it's just, hey, we got Grounded, we got Pentiment while we're working on, Avowed and Outer Worlds too, right?
Right,
So
right. If it's got a good story and good RPG mechanics, I'm gonna enjoy it. Like, cause like I said, I just finished Disco Elysium earlier this year. Absolutely loved it. Like, and for me, that was a
and
very different kind of RPG. You know, it's not like what you expect from, say, like your typical Western RPGs or JRPGs. It's very different, and I welcome those kind of games. I actually about to start playing Game Deck, which is another game that's kind of like that by indie studios on PC. And Game Deck kind of delves into a similar game mechanic that Disco Elysium does. So I like to see more developers really trying that, and you're gonna get it's a little bit different than what you're expecting from, say, like the Tales of Arise or Final Fantasy or Elder Scrolls. But then, like there's room in the RPG subgenres for things like that. It's just that, like we said, it's gonna be unfortunate that, like, it's gonna get treated as if, like, oh, look at this is what you got going up against God of
yeah,
War, and it really should never be that kind of game. It's not like your A-lister game. It's like a B-list game.
I
It,
mean,
it
it's
should be
kind
a
of like As
game.
Dust Falls, right?
Right, right.
It's
It should
just
be a game that's not. It's not a headliner. It's a supplemental thing. In between two big games, play As Dust Falls. You have a good time with it. Not
don't judge the
necessarily.
book by its cover, because everybody was like, As Dust Falls, ugh. And then people actually played it and were like, hey, this is pretty good. It's got a really
Yeah,
good story, you know?
Yeah.
very good story.
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely got it installed. I'm gonna play it over the next week because I'm on vacation on next week. So
Yo, we should do the co. I haven't done any multiplayer for As Dust Falls yet.
yeah,
So
I'll do. I mean, I'm off. We can stream it and I can do something with you. Shout out to Big Mike with the $10 super chat. I have no internet. I mean, I have no interest in Starfield that looks like a copy and paste from No Man's Sky, but I am excited for Redfall when it drops. Yo,
Big Mike, don't do this.
he's
It is not a copy and paste from No Man's Sky.
man, look at you. First of all, No Man's Sky didn't have half the stuff in the game until recently. It took them like 10 years to get it where it's at. It's gonna be a while. Brand, don't want to hold you, but if you want to stick around for the very last topic, actually, we would like to have since you do play some
Yeah.
shooters, I would like to hear your opinion on this whole thing.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a spicy topic.
Definitely
I
want
mean,
to definitely would like to get
What
your
are we talking
point on it.
about? Halo?
Well, it's not even just Halo. I mean, that was kind of where it was born from, but just skill-based matchmaking in general. So there was a tweet that was put out on Twitter over the course of the last couple of days. Let me switch the screen. That was brought out over the last couple of days. It was by Men's Blitz. He said, I had to go back to Halo Master Chief Collection because I literally couldn't find a game in Halo Infinite outside of Big Team Battle anymore. Even during peak times, if I miraculously found one, it was 250 ping with a 10 plus minute wait time. Please do something 343. Slow-mo. I'll let you launch into it because we all know, being multiplayer savants, we know why this is happening. So why would you go ahead and speak it?
Okay, well, first off, like in Halo, if I see Mint Blitz on the other team, I already know
It's
what kind of
time to
match
it's time to go.
No, I mean, I'm not leaving. I
No,
am a
I mean it's
competitor.
go time. It's time to
It's go time. I need
go
to I
time.
need to wipe my hands off. I need to sit up in my chair because it's about to be a match. Because he's an elite player. He's an Onyx player, right? So like, he is in like the top 1% of Halo players. Their skill-based matchmaking is so strict that, like, they won't allow him anywhere near a bronze or silver player or gold player, right? So that's why he's got these long wait times. But it's implemented in that way so that he doesn't absolutely murder an entire lobby for another team and make people feel like, I ain't playing in this game no more. I'm done. Because the skill levels are literally that far apart. And part of the other problem is that there's not enough people playing Halo Infinite right now for him to get into lobbies quicker. So when the player base gets smaller like that, you're going to have a harder time finding people on your skill level to play the game, because those people who are on your skill level who were playing the game at one point but stopped playing the game, they're now playing something else. And so this kind of becomes like this debate where it's like, do away with skill-based matchmaking, because I can't get into matches. And then there's like the people who want skill-based matchmaking who don't ever want to run into a Mint Blitz. They don't want anything to do with a Mint Blitz. They want to be able to get into a lobby and play with people who are of their skill level, and they can get some relative amount of success and not, have one game where they actually, had a positive KD, and the next match they went 3 for 15. They don't want that, right? So it's like it's a balancing act that I think, one, when it comes to just Halo Infinite 343, skill-based matchmaking is way too strict. Way too strict. And that's why there's an issue where players are it's too strict for this reason. A guy like Mint Blitz, the game's a free-to-play multiplayer game. It's nothing for him to create a whole new account. And then now he's still going in here and destroying these guys who aren't on his skill level for a few weeks, until
More like a few hours.
a few hours until his skill level has proven it way too big for all these people, and then now he can't find matches no more. Then he has to make another mule in order to keep playing the game. You can't protect the lesser skilled players from the higher skilled players, and also you kind of make it difficult for someone who is getting better to actually show they're getting better, because they're only playing against the people that are in their skill level. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's always this debate, and I kind of feel like I don't want to side on the side of that just strictly the higher skilled guys, but I understand their pain, because they spent money on the game and cosmetics and stuff just like everyone else did, and they can't get into a match. Like, they can't get a match when your player base is you're down to, I don't know what the exact numbers are. I'm not going to pretend I do, right? But you don't have the same numbers that you had when the game first launched, or a few months after. Like, you got to make some adjustments. Like every multiplayer game does that. When their player base starts getting smaller, adjustments have to be made so that people can actually play the game. So
I think
go ahead.
one of the
Go
big
ahead.
problems Halo has is, I think, there's a huge skill gap between certain levels.
Oh yeah.
Unlike in Onyx, but that's the highest one, right?
Yeah.
Like Onyx is gonna completely destroy Diamond all the time, right? So I think Halo runs into this
I can
thing.
do a little something.
No, no, no,
I,
no, no, no,
I'm
no.
a,
Not
I'm
the
a
top,
diamond.
No.
not the
I'm a
top
diamond
tier.
We're
player.
talking about Mint Blitz and like the top of the
Yeah,
Onyx
look,
tier.
I'm probably not doing that.
They're gonna
exact
wreck
guy.
shop against diamonds, right? And then diamonds they're gonna wreck shop against coppers, or like, so you're already at a disadvantage because the way it's all set up and the higher tiers, it's like those people at the top will destroy. Like, there's a reason why they're in the categories they are, right? But then you like, okay, the player pool's lessening, so now there's less people playing, so now it becomes even highlighted even further. When I talk to my friends who have put 300, 400 hours into Halo Infinite and then stopped, it's because like every game ended up being a sweat fest.
Mm-hmm.
Even like social, even when they just wanted to take a break in social, even social ended up being a sweat fest.
Because social has skill-based matchmaking as well,
which it shouldn't,
unfortunately,
but
and
it
it shouldn't.
does.
Right.
So like the only way to escape that is like big team battle or whatever, and they just didn't have fun with it. So yeah, the people I talk to are always in favor of getting rid of it or tweaking it somehow, because even for people at the high end, it's probably not fun, and it's probably not fun for the people wherever you're at. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
play a multiplayer game and have to freaking sweat, for 2 hours like my life depended on it. Like, that becomes too stressful after a certain amount of time, and you burn yourself out on it. Like, I'm not looking to become a Halo pro.
Right.
At some point, that's just kind of it just becomes old. Which, like, when you look at like the battle royales, there's downtime in the battle royales. Like, you have your times where you get your character up, you get into a fight, and maybe you die or restart, but like it's not a constant battle like 24/7 like it is in Arena and Halo.
Mm-hmm.
There's some
Yeah.
times where you're like you killed some people and now like you got to go into your new place and you don't fight anybody for a couple minutes, right? Yeah, I think Halo's biggest problem is it doesn't have enough content. People have looked at it and are like, I'm gonna wait for this to be fixed, whatever all the issues they have, like the melee desync and all these things. And people have moved back to the games they were playing, and it's now all the problems that they had, like the matchmaking stuff, are just highlighted even more because less people are playing it. So it's just more things on the pile of Halo Infinite
Yeah.
to,
More
to
things.
try to fix. So
Out.
just more things they need to do.
You know,
You know,
I don't mind a sweaty match. I actually, if I'm in a match, right, and we lose 50, it's a Team Slayer match, and we lose like 50-48. I still enjoyed that match, even though like we lost. It was competitive. We had fun. But what I've noticed, and it's like I think it kind of breaks up like friend groups, because friend groups, not everyone in that friend group may be
Good enough.
good enough, right? So like this is what I noticed, and this is no like shot at anybody. It's just straight facts. When I play with Forte, we're good. Me and Forte, we're playing the game. It's fine. I break Halo Infinite up. I'm playing with Luca, who's newer to Halo. Luca by herself, she was playing for a while, and she'll be like, "Man, I'm having some great matches, having fun. I'm dominating people." I join her. She immediately noticed there's a change.
Immediately.
What the hell is going on in this life? Like she immediately, the players are different now,
Yeah.
and she's still doing good, but she's not doing as good as she was doing before. Luca didn't like that. I understand.
and who would really?
Right. I'm playing with Brap and Game Logic. Brap and Game Logic were playing, having fun. I jump in the Discord. What's up, bro? What you guys doing? Y'all playing Halo Infinite? This is back before I stopped playing the game because of the whole Bonobo thing. I'm like, all right, well, let me join you guys. Cool. Come in. Enrique didn't have a conniption. Lost his mind. What is going on? I can't kill anybody. I don't get it.
Everybody's
What is
super
happening?
soldiers in here.
And Enrique was, I think I'm done for the night. And I'm like, it's not fun no more, right? Because it's like I'm just trying to have fun with friends, but they're not having fun. If they're not having fun, I'm not having fun.
Is this a way for you to just brag about how good you are at Halo
No,
versus Brad?
this is not. No, this
I'll
is,
give him.
I think that's on
this-
the down low. It's
Well,
kinda what
I'll
it
give him
sounds
a
like.
pass because it happens to me too. But this is definitely a slight, kind of
Yeah.
tip to the cap.
When
I am
slow-mo,
not
like,
doing that whatsoever. I am
when
not
slow-mo,
trying to.
when you tweet your pictures of your Rogue Company kills, when you're like, well, 40 kills, eliminations of Rogue Company or whatever. Yeah.
Look, okay, you know what? Let's talk about Rogue Company for a second. That's where they have a similar issue, but it's different. Where skill-based matchmaking is way too broad because they have even less players than Halo Infinite right now. And so even though I'm at a certain level at Rogue Company, when I do ranked, I'm playing ranked with people who are bronze level and going up against people who are rogue level. And it's like, wait a minute, this shouldn't be happening. Like, how is
Yeah.
this a ranked match? Like, and they don't give you, if you're a bronze player and somehow some miracle beat a rogue player in a ranked match, you don't get like more for like towards your rank for beating people that high ahead of you. It's unfair. So it's like I think all these games have these problems, but it's like there are different problems for each game. And I wasn't trying to brag or anything. Like I'm just as good because look, there are people I play with who are better than me, and I immediately know this. Like, all right, well, I gotta let me wake up and get a Red Bull because clearly, like, it's
About
going
to
to be
be
that
her.
kind of night.
I see your tweets about Naraka. Slow-mo only tweets about the games he's good at. You never see him tweet about the games he's bad at,
Listen,
right?
yeah, slow mo,
Look,
we
I'm
out
not going
there,
to.
man.
Hold on. Shout out to Dorian Gray with the $2 super chat. Slow mo, come on over to Valorant, Top Gun. No. See,
Ooh.
that's a game I'm not going to tweet about because I tried Valorant, and Valorant is all mouse and
He
keyboard, and
can't
I
play.
suck at
He
mouse and
sucks with
keyboard.
mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I tried Valorant. There's no highlights for me to put on Twitter for
Now,
that. So like, that's a
so
negative for me.
the only thing about this that kills me, and I see both sides of the scenario. I see it in Halo. The biggest thing with Halo with me was like it was like the desync of weapons and feeling like I wasn't
Oh
hitting
yeah,
stuff,
right.
and literally on top of skill based matchmaking, it made me feel like I was terrible because I was like, I know I'm hitting these people and I'm dying and I don't know why. So I was like on top of skill-based matchmaking crushing me at certain points. I would thinking that the game was just like against me and I couldn't play it anymore. But the biggest thing ultimately comes down to like when you're playing the game by yourself, like in a competitive environment like rank or something, you feel like you are like in control of the game until you're not in control of the game anymore. Because there's been times that I've been like, why am I in this? Like, you could take one or two losses, but once you start playing against people where every gunfight, even if you know you got the upper hand, you lose. I'm like, yo, why am I in the lobby with this person? Because there isn't, and this is when I was playing like I was like Diamond 6. So I was like right there on the cuffs of being Onyx. And I'm like, this dude is Onyx, but there's different tiers to Onyx. Like, even if
Yeah,
I could be an Onyx 6. I could be at the very bottom of Onyx 6, but there's a huge difference between the bottom of Onyx 6 and that tippity top of the very top of the mountain point that's like 0.001%. And that gap in skill is ridiculous. And people don't realize that. So I just always look at this like real interesting, like, you can't, the only people that really have fun in games like this, like Halo, Destiny, games that got skill-based matchmaking like this, are kind of the ones in the middle. If you're in the middle of the bell curve, you get the most matches, you get the fastest time to game, lobby time to game, and you're getting
yeah,
the benefits of being able to feel like you're improving. Now, the thing about being at the very top is you're always playing good people, so you always are being challenged no matter what. If you're at the bottom of the skill gap, everybody you play is a god. And those are the people that need to be kind of protected when it comes to that. I think that the skill base needs to be opened up a heck of a lot more than they do it. And it just seems like they want to protect people more than anything. But I mean, in general, Rankin, I know you play a lot of battle royales and stuff. I don't know. You played Apex, didn't you? For a while?
Yeah, I
Because
played
yeah.
Apex,
Apex
Buggy.
because
for about
Apex
100
got
hours. Yeah.
Apex has extreme SMBM and skill based matchmaking inside of it. What was your experiences of just going through that over your 100 hours? In that setting and stuff, like your progression through it.
I mean, you could feel it, and I don't know. Remember, there was that thing where they said like they would make. They had like patents for like, oh, we wanted to make it easier for a user's first game, so they keep on
Yes,
playing. It
yes,
was interesting because when that information came out, we started keeping track, and the number of times we won our first game of the day were ridiculous.
Hmm.
Or if one of us didn't play for a while and then came and played, like my buddies Magic and Maka are just like
yeah.
Magic is an FPS god, right? Maka's like insanely good too, and they weren't having a lot of fun. I hadn't played in a while, so I jumped back in there. and like the first game back after like a month and a half, and we dominate the first game and win. But then suddenly the rest of the game started getting a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
But that first game was just like almost a
So,
cakewalk.
so you
It's
think
weird.
that first game they put you in a lobby with bots?
No, not bots or just people of like lower. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was implemented. Like I
Hmm.
know Forte, you know what I'm talking
I know
about,
what you're
right?
talking
Those
about.
patents.
Yeah, with them,
I
they
don't think it
did
was
it different.
implemented, but it was super interesting because after we saw that, we're like, we do win the first game quite a lot, and then have a lot more troubles with the games as they go on. You know.
Yeah, I
Um.
know in Fortnite they definitely have bots
Oh
for
yeah, they
like
do.
new players, and if you don't play for a long time and you come back, you're gonna be put in a bot lobby. Like I played the game. I wanted to kind of prove this. I played with my son, who is like completely new to video games. Like he only plays Roblox really. I got him. He wanted to play Fortnite with me. We play together. I have seen it where like there is a ratio between the 100 people that drop in Fortnite when you're brand new, how many of them are bots, and I think in 80 of them are bots when it's your very first time playing the game. Because he was with me, like I'm playing, I'm the other players in the game. Like I think we may have run into one real person. I felt like everyone else was a bot clearly, and I can tell they're a bot because they shoot at me in the dumbest possible situations. They're shooting at me with an SMG, and they're like 5 miles away. Like you're not hitting me accurately with that. That's one. As soon as I shoot at them and hit them, they immediately turn around and start slowly walking away, and I'm just like, this is the same like the same AI, response I see every single time from like certain like really easy to kill players in the game. I just know it's a bot. And my son was getting kills. I'm just basically just coasting through it. We won easily, won for the first two easily. And then as soon as we won those first two, it was like a switch had flipped. Next thing I know, first player we went into, this guy hit shockwave bombs over top of us. like he, everyone's bouncing around, doing what people do to avoid getting shot in Fortnite, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I see where if it took us out of bot lobby into real lobby, real quick. But it's like every game has a onboarding process, I think.
Yeah.
You know who's got the worst onboarding for new people?
Ooh,
Destiny.
that's to speak terrible.
Destiny doesn't have skill-based matchmaking.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Bucky said that.
No. Okay, I want you. Oh, so before I get into that, I just dropped in the chat. Anybody that wants to know what implementation of skill-based matchmaking looks like, click on that link. It's going to take you to This Week at Bungie's TWAB from 2 weeks ago, where they talked about what skill-based matchmaking is going to be in their game going forward. And it's pretty ridiculous to the point where they literally call out people and tell you, it's like, listen, man, they literally base it on a 2,000 point scale and say that our skill level goes anywhere from -300 to +900. And most of the community, they say when you're playing in the lobby right now, the average disparity between the lowest and the highest is literally 900 points. And they said if you are more than
Wow.
600, they literally break it down. It's like, I'm trying to tell you, it's literally one of the best ways to ever just, if you want to know what skill base looks like, they tell you in there. They say if you are
Well,
600
you said
points
you can't say it's
away.
one of the best, and they haven't implemented
No,
this
no,
yet.
no. It is implemented. It's already. They're literally they literally are breaking it down how they're adding, because it's in their glory playlist already. It's in it's not in their control like they're like, how Halo has quick play. They don't
Yeah.
have it in their control playlist. That's what they're
Well, they
putting it
shouldn't
in.
have it. They shouldn't have it
It shouldn't be in
in
there.
the casual playlist. You shouldn't have skill-based
Yeah,
match. The reason
exactly.
why I said they don't have skill-based matchmaking is that, like, I remember on Twitter, like it was either early this year or late last year, where people were complaining about the skill-based matchmaking in Destiny, and a Destiny employee came out and was like, "It's funny you guys are complaining about this because we actually took the skill-based matchmaking out because y'all were complaining about it. So we don't have any in there. So what are you complaining about?" So it was just like at the time they didn't have any in there, and but now that seems like they're adding it, which is great. because I think you gotta have some level of skill-based matchmaking present. But
Yeah, it's
um,
really cool. Like they literally tell you like if a person is 600 points higher, and the thing is, and this is another thing. I don't know why they don't. Why do we get away from the Halo 3 model? I'm not saying it has to be the Halo 3 way of doing it, but they showcased your level in game. Like when you were a
yeah,
level 40, you went against 40s. When you were a 50, if you happen to get the 50 to the crescent moon, the god of all god levels inside of Halo 3. If you were able to get there, you were freaking amazing. But guess what? You had to win games consistently to stay there. The
yeah,
game challenged you at that. The fact that these games nowadays don't even give you a barometer of showcasing you inside of the game when it comes to like who you're actually playing against, because sometimes you just go into a lobby and you just see normal people until the bullets start flying and you're just like, yo, that person is way better than everybody else in this lobby. So you don't even really have anything to gauge it against until you start actually playing. And literally that's half the battle, preparing yourself to what you're getting yourself in. So I don't know. It's crazy, but um I think that's roughly about it. I mean, anybody guys anything else they want to add to it when it comes to skill base?
No.
Should
no,
it
I think that's
so yes or no? What does the balance need to be? Last thing, what do you think the balance needs to be? I know do the games just need to have more rank modes, or do you think having it inside of custom, quick play lobbies is still a way of doing it?
I don't know what the best way is. Honestly, don't know.
I know it's
I
kind of crazy.
I don't think there is a best way, because even when you talked about how great the Halo 3's skill-based matchmaking was, the guy that had designed it even said that like he didn't think Halo Infinite could implement the same thing, and he had a long Twitter thread. Actually, no, I think it was on Reddit that he was explaining why. But it's just I feel like every game needs to have implemented differently, and then it needs to be fluid. And as the player population changes, if it grows or if it shrinks, you need to be able to be agile in adjusting your skill-based matchmaking and how you are setting it up, in order so that you don't have situations like Mint Blitz waiting 20 minutes to get into one match.
Right.
Like that should just never happen for anybody. So, but then I think when it comes to casual, so that guys like Mint Blitz never have this issue, that like you just don't have any skill-based matchmaking on casual at all, which with Halo Infinite is a problem because there's skill-based matchmaking on casual as well.
That's the truth. Hey, that's the truth.
And it was like something that they didn't even initially know. 343 did not know initially that like that their skill-based matchmaking on casual was affecting the skill-based matchmaking in ranked, until the people in the community proved it by going into bot matches and getting like a 16 KD
Why am I
16
not
KD,
surprised about them not knowing
and then
about something
jumping
in their
on ranked
game?
and immediately playing against Onyx players.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
So yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Big Mike. Slomo is full. He is full on sweat. He's full on sweat in Fortnite and Halo Infinite, but he still has cold knees and has to eat his
Cold
Wheaties.
knees?
But I said, oh, didn't I? Oh, did
You said
No,
cold
Yeah, it
oh,
sounded like you
knees.
said
oh
cold.
no, oh, sorry. Yeah, probably just the way it came out of my mouth. He still has
My
old
knees are cold
knees.
right now. It's cold in my arm.
He
Go
has
ahead.
old knees and eats Wheaties and drinks a Red Bull before each game. He does it before this
That's
show every day too.
yeah. I do have a empty bottle of
So
can of Red Bull right
So
here. So
before he
yeah.
decides to drink another one and stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning playing games with skill-based matchmaking, let's get the heck up out of here. So first of all, great show, everybody. Really appreciate everybody came through. Shout out to the 79 people that showed up today. You guys are amazing. You guys are heroes. We love you. And also the man with the million, the man it's literally dropped in, didn't even know he was here, and he came in like Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Surprise
was like,
guest.
hello there.
Yeah.
How are you? So shout out to you, bro, for coming through, and you're always welcome to come through. But appreciate you coming through, man, and let everybody know what's going on your channel, man. What you got going on?
So I actually released 2 videos this week. I don't know the last time I done that. It's kind of crazy.
I think May, maybe. Maybe
Maybe,
longer.
maybe right before E3. No, me and Jez got the show tomorrow. There's a lot to talk about. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. We got a lot of requests to talk about HBO and stuff going on with HBO Max and Discovery and stuff. I don't
Mhm.
know why, but you know, interesting. Do either of you like anime? Maybe slow mo. Do you like anime?
I'm a very light,
Casual.
casual anime watcher. Like if it's
Oh.
really good, like the best stuff, I normally go to like Luca and be like, "Hey, Luca, is this good?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, that's good," and I'll watch it. But I'm not into like the anime stuff. Like, where's that Baki on Netflix? I hate it. Hate it.
So,
Yeah.
um, I'm not into anime at all, right? But my buddies all convinced me to watch an anime they thought I would like, and I'm loving it.
What's it
Um,
called?
Vinland Saga.
Oh yeah. That's good. That's good. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched
Vinland
it off
Saga.
of
Yeah,
Prime Video.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's on Well, I think it's on Netflix and Prime. But my God, is it good? 'Cause it doesn't really feel like a typical anime to me. I don't know. Not like I've watched a lot of anime. I was just like, this is a really good story. But I'm really, really, really looking forward to tomorrow, because finally, Sandman comes to live action, and I'm a big Sandman fan. I'm a big Neil Gaiman fan. I just finished reading the first 2 volumes of Sandman to catch up on it because it's been a long time since I read Sandman. So I am insanely excited for the show to start tomorrow. Like ridiculously excited.
Nothing wrong.
I'm
What?
getting a little flack in the chat about my hate of Baki. Okay.
Mm.
Let me explain something
Big
about
Mike
Baki
said
real
it's
quick.
meh. He's on your side.
Big Mike is correct. Baki has the most exposition I have ever seen out of look, here's a great example. And Rand, I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. Forte and Rand, I'm not going what I'm about to explain to you is not an exaggeration at all. 2 guys at an amusement park are fighting on a roller coaster
Okay.
that's moving. The roller
Uh-huh.
coaster's moving. These guys are fighting. One
Sounds
guy
like Near Automata. There's that scene in Near Automata where you're
right,
on
right.
a roller coaster fighting, yeah.
One guy goes, like, literally, my entire life, I've been training for this moment. I spent my entire life fighting on boats that move and rock back and forth just so that in this moment and this time I will be the perfect opponent to fight on a roller coaster. I'm like, are you serious right now? I hate Baki so much. I every fight's like that. A
I tell
guy
you,
gets
I have no
his
idea what
fingers
Baki
cut off.
I have
And
no
he's
idea
like,
what Baki even is, bro. I don't like when people say Naruto, like I know what Naruto is, and I'm probably even saying that wrong. Or I know like, oh, Death Note, Naruto, Demon Slayer, right? Like I know what those are. I've never heard of Baki before.
don't
So I can't
don't,
even
don't
picture
watch
it in
it.
my head.
Don't watch it. There's a guy that gets his fingers cut off. He's like, thank you for cutting my fingers off. I never wanted to have fingers.
Oh,
I can
Lord.
now hit
And
people
they are
without my
booing you.
fingers breaking. I'm like, are you serious?
Boo, slow mo. Yeah, they're booing you.
Yeah,
Hey, look,
they coming
it's
for you, slow mo.
that's fine. They can come for me. They need to come for them writers for Baki because they're terrible.
You gonna know you so when we get to Scumcast level, you gonna hear this, bro. They gonna let you have it.
That's fine. That's fine. They Luca and the crew know of my hate of Baki. We've been through this before. We've been through and they can't dispute anything I just said because everything I just said is 100% facts. It makes no sense, but they love it anyway. I don't know why. But like, ooh, you know what you might like, Rand?
What?
It's on Netflix. It's a kind of like slice of life anime, but it does have some sci-fi too. It's called Parasite. It's really good.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, my buddies have told me about that one, but there's something about Vinland Saga was just like, all right, and I watched it, and I think I burned through 11 episodes so far. I'm like, all
How
right,
many episodes is it on there?
24.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
season 2 is coming next year. But are either of you interested in Sandman? Slow mo,
Yes.
come on, Sandman.
Oh yeah, I'm interested in
Yeah,
Sandman. Yeah.
definitely interesting.
Did you ever read Sandman back in the day?
I did not. I was too busy reading X-Men, but I'm interested in anything that they're doing with that. I'm
Now,
down
have you
for it.
finished Oathbreaker? If you finish your homework.
I have not finished my reread of Oathbreaker. You know,
Uh,
I'm gonna tell you, I was
what is
reading
taking
something.
so long?
Been playing games,
Video
Ray.
games, ran something.
I've been,
Shit.
playing games,
I'd
and then
understand if there was something out that was worth playing. What the hell?
Well, listen,
What?
everybody
I've
doesn't.
been playing
Listen,
a
Red.
lot of multiplayer games and some other stuff.
No,
And that, you know what, you probably would be mad. You could be mad at me about this. I've been reading through the My Hero Academia manga.
Uh,
I've been reading that too. I've been getting caught up on that. So like, you could probably be mad at me for that. I've been doing that for the
well,
past
I
2 or
mean, I
3
guess it's
days.
okay because Sanderson delayed Stormlight 5 to 2024, so you got some time.
I got time, yeah. But when I finish Oathbreaker, I'm gonna read Warbreaker. Then I'm gonna read Dawn Shard. Then I'm gonna
Mm,
read
Rhythm of
Rhythm of
War.
War. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I got a little time. I got a little
I
time.
got, I haven't posted a picture yet, but I got the leather-bound Wave King, which I
Yeah.
showed you.
Yeah,
I
you
also
showed me,
got
yeah.
leather-bound Warbreaker and Mistborn signed. I got those as well. Super
Yo,
nice.
Mistborn needs to be a movie series. Like I
Oh,
can
I don't
see
know if
that
you saw,
being a
but
trilogy.
well, one of the reasons why Sanderson's delaying Stormlight to 2024 is because he said this is the year that Hollywood came calling hard, and
Finally.
he
Let's
even talked
go.
about it. He even talked about it in his stream tonight because somebody asked him, "Is like, hey, if you do a live action version of Stormlight, how are you going to be able to like not show the vegetation? Because there's no grass in Stormlight, right?
Right,
In
yeah.
Roshar."
Yeah.
And he just smiled and said, "Well, the budgets that are being thrown at us for Stormlight, we can just digitally remove the grass."
Yeah.
So it
And then
sounds
they
like,
have like when you do have vegetation, it's like it's weird because it's like whenever people walk near it, like they kind of shy away or they kind of go into
yeah.
like a
So
capsule or something.
it
Yeah.
does sound like at some point we will get a Stormlight Archive TV show, and Brandon did say he wants to do Mistborn as a movie.
Yes, it would be
So
perfect as a movie. The original trilogy of of uh of books would be a perfect trilogy of movies, I think. And yeah, Stormlight is much better as a TV show because it's so much heavier. There's so much lore there, and like the way they kind of like we talked about this before about how certain characters like they are, even though everyone gets their own time to shine in each book, like but each book is really themed about like one particular character, like the Way of Kings is Kaladin,
yeah,
but then the second one
Words of Radiance is
Words of
Shallan,
Radiance
yeah,
is Shallan, and then the and Oathbringer is
Dalinar.
Dalinar.
You don't even
So
remember the names. My
I
God.
remember the names. You just let me say it. Okay, I remember the
Oh, it's
names.
terrible.
I hate Shaylin though. I hate her with a passion. But
Forte was supposed to start the series, and so was
mm-hmm.
Luca. I don't know
Actually,
if
I'm going to
they.
start next week when I start reading. I
Ah,
have them already. I was waiting for vacation, brother.
hardest to get through is the beginning because it sets up everything, and it's kind of just like
Just like most of
it's
this stuff.
it's
Boring
like
as
It's
most
hell
of
in
very
the
everything.
slow for
beginning.
like 200 pages.
Like once you get to Bridge 4, oh yeah,
Then,
Yes, when it really picks up.
then I'm
Yeah.
going to text both of you.
and you can be our Bridge 4 brother,
I
and Luca
do.
can be our Bridge 4 sister.
I do want to be that.
You gotta get the tattoo though on the
No,
forehead.
no. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have my daughter color it on my forehead.
I
Maybe
was
I'll
thinking
do
about
that.
buying the Sanderson's website sells a Bridge 4 hat. I might get a Bridge 4 hat. It's got like this. It's got like the symbol. It's got the Kaladin's slave symbol on it. Just that. I might get that.
hmm
Can't believe the slow mo literally got you into this so bad to the point where you just quote it now.
I remember having a conversation with Ram when he was like he didn't like Sanderson because Sanderson finished
No, I didn't know
Robert
who
Jordan.
Sanderson was. 'Cause I
Oh,
take a
okay.
long break from reading. Like I stopped reading in 2004, and I got back into it because Wheel of Time was coming back, and I wanted to finish the series. So I didn't know who Sanderson was.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I had been out of the loop. And then, like, as soon as I finished Wheel of Time, I went and I read Mistborn. So,
Yeah.
I'll take you-
This one's awesome.
but Slow Mo was right. Brandon Sanderson's the bomb.
Yes.
All right,
He's
all right. We're not about to.
I Yeah, we need to get up
We're
out of
not
here.
boring our
Everyone's
people
gonna be like,
anymore. They're gonna be like,
people
man,
like, what are we
shout out.
talking about?
Listen, the fact that there's still 66 people here listening to y'all, I guess they like it. They like hearing about all this type of stuff. And be for real though, honestly, the next thing closest to video games is reading a book, man, because
Oh,
you're
to
more
tie this into
immersed.
video games,
Go ahead.
From Software has approached Sanderson to
Mm-hmm.
potentially do what like George R. R. Martin did with Elden Ring.
With Elden
So
Ring.
one of their future games might have the story and
Well,
lore all created by Brandon
I
Sanderson.
think Brandon already said there is a game that hasn't been announced yet that he worked on. Some people were speculating that it was going to be that it might be in Exile's steampunk RPG.
Oh,
So
that
I
was
guess we'll
cool.
wait and see. We'll find out, I suppose.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Cool.
All right,
Little slow mo.
let me do my outro.
Yeah,
Let's see if
yeah.
we can
Go
get up
ahead,
out
do
of here.
your outro.
Great show, guys. Forte, great hosting. Rand, thank you for coming through. I always love chopping it up with you, man. Glad to have you here. And the chat was pretty cool. Appreciate everybody for coming through. You can find me Slow Mo Backslap on everything. That's Twitter, that's Twitch, that's YouTube. It's the same name everywhere. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy your games and/or books that you're reading.
Yeah, and definitely make sure you put in creator code backslap when you're on Fortnite.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, yeah. Give me some help here.
This man needs $1,000 worth of stuff spent on his account so he can see some of the proceeds from that.
Oh, let's not start. Epic Game Store got some Epic's creator program's a little weird. It's like, I mean, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Yeah, so as always, episode 95 in the book, 5 episodes away from 100. And it's going to be a great time. And me and Slow will talk about some stuff that we're going to do on the channel for everybody for the 100th episode over the course of the next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for that. You're already on the channel, Gaming Forte. Make sure you sub if you like everything. Make sure you follow on Twitter, information, news, and announcements and stuff like that. Enjoy the games that you're playing. Xbox is doing amazing, and so is Sony, even though they're afraid of stuff that might happen in the future. But guess what? They do got God of War Ragnarok coming out this year, and that's really all that matters. So outside of that, guys, have a great week. Enjoy the games you're playing, and we will talk to you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.